Morning, good morning, good morning. I am in Las Vegas and I'm coming to you live to talk about what? Public education. As it is mandatory, some people say, oh, education should not be mandatory. I'm saying, I don't know what you're talking about, boo. But we've been paying for this thing called freedom for a long time. Hello. Would you like to come in? Anybody's welcome to come in. I'm just talking about public education, but really, I believe. Oh, would you like to come in? Anybody's welcome to come in. I'm just talking about public education, but really, I believe that I'm talking about, how we do it. How are we making it as Americans? Because this election demonstrated that so many people are not at the table and have chosen just not to participate, but that's choice. And then complain about what's happening. Just complain about what's happening across the nation. I think my eyes are fluttering this morning. Just complain about what's happening across the nation. I think my eyes are fluttering this morning. They're not mine, that's why. But the deal is that invite 5 of your friends to go live together. Yes. Anybody want to go live? We can talk about public education, as failure should not be an option. Yet, for most people who look like me, it's unfortunate that so many. If we could talk about public education, as failure should not be an option. Yet, for most people who look like me, it's unfortunate that so many children are just not making it. And what it's going to happen? When they're building those prison beds for children who are not reading in the 3rd grade level, understand, when you enroll your children in public school, how many people are just not going to make it? And how many are not making it? Because that's our obligation to ensure access happens as an American citizen. But, you're a Democrat or a Republican, does it make a difference? No, because if you're an American, you just need to step up. And I'm saying this election, my life has really taught me that if I've chosen not to participate, then I can't move forward. And most people don't understand how the universe works in their life, or how God, I don't believe in God, but I promise you, before you leave this earth, you will call on God. And that's just it. Because the ability to call on God is just, He hears you all the time. Our spirits never die. Just never die. Just never die. I see. Okay, let me see what I can do here. I thought I could share, but not a share. It says share. Oh, there it is right there. Harrison, I can find my friend. Because he likes to talk too. I like to talk. He likes to talk. And so the deal is that what are you doing as it is 2024? What are we doing as Americans? Well, I don't know. I don't think so, because it depends on what you want to talk about. Put what you want to talk about in the line, and I'll decide if you're going to come up, because I don't do the battles. I really just don't do the battles, because there's no reason to do a battle. I don't have anything to explain to anybody about anything. I'm not promoting anything. I'm not selling anything. I'm just telling you that in 2024, so many people just chose to stay home, and they didn't say anything. Now, even this platform is at risk. But so many people are using this platform for what? Reasons unknown. And it is what it is. Because if you had a choice of colors, that song. I like that song. If you had a choice of colors, which one would you choose, my brother? If there were no day or night, which would you prefer to be right? How long have you hated your white teacher? But who told you to love that black preacher, and to, whatever it is, trust your mother's women friends, and then share with black folks not of kin, but people must prove to the people a better day is coming for you and for me, with just a little bit more education. And they say love for our nation will have a better society, but I don't believe that anymore. I used to believe that. All through, James Brown and Nipsey Hussle and even Lil Nas X, I thought he did a great job, because those babies was loving that Old Town Road. Cousin Nipsey certainly said, we just need to come together and file a lawsuit. As Americans, we're not making it. And I did not know that. This morning, I called my insurance company because, I get 20 calls a day about changing my health care because I'm now 66 and I'm the harvest. And if you're over 60, you know what I'm saying, you're getting your Social Security, you too get to choose who you're going to provide. They're going to count you, and then they're going to include you, and that money from the federal government is going to go to them, and then they're going to provide you the support. Now, if you never show up, that's just money sitting on the table. But if you do show up, however, some of these people cost a lot of money, but know this. Some of these people never show up. I mean, no matter how many ailments they have, no matter what's going on with them, they just choose not to show up. And that's just real. So I'll say that this election in 2024 demonstrated that we, the people, as Americans, have work to do. And if it's okay, my children did not fail public education. No, that's not something that happened. No, okay. And even my youngest one, they said, would not benefit from public education. And he did. He graduated with a 101 a laptop and above proficient. Does that make a difference? Yes. Why? Because we are still surviving and he's not incarcerated. But what about that 88% population of Negro children in Nevada and juvenile facilities? Now, I didn't get the numbers for the adult offenders, but I do know that they're supposed to be eliminating, doing recidivism, stopping people from going back and committing this. They're supposed to be eliminating, doing recidivism, stopping people from going back and committing the same crimes and giving them options. Because once you're an offender, I'm just trying to understand how you ever get out of that cycle. But then some people do make it. And honestly, that Obama grant for the black boys, that's all they do. They have that Obama grant for the black boys, that's all they do. They have two presentations a year, and they take at least maybe 150 kids. They don't take a whole lot. There are 350,000 students, but in Clark County School District, but they pull some from everywhere, and they take them to a JC. And then they have black people who have been successful talk to the young people so that they can ask questions so that you understand that failure is just not the only option. But I'm saying, what the hell difference does that make if you're in the 9th grade and you're reading at 3rd grade level and you can't complete your assignments and they're offering no support? And I'm saying what you don't understand about public education is mandatory. And so my blessing was certainly I had the opportunity to go back to school with my children, each one. And I didn't have to work, no, because they had already decided that they had already had a loss. As I was working for Los Rios Community College, and then Chuck Spruce walked over there one day and just fired me. I was pregnant, and if you understand, I was pregnant. And then my coworker, she had slapped me, and then my boss didn't want to do anything about that. I mean, there was so much shit going on, but I was pregnant, and I know that was the issue. It was my personal issue. But anyways, I went out on work stress because I needed to, but really, I had an injury, but I didn't understand the injury. So now they call it, well, it's like borderline fibromyalgia or borderline rheumatoid arthritis or whatever. It really is that your body takes on the chemicals and it tries to get rid of them. It's just like when you're eating bad food, why we have all these cancers and toxins in our system. I believe it's because we are consuming things that are not meant for us to consume. But you better understand something is coming your way, because the lessening and everybody's been fighting to lower the big footprint of the federal government. And then y'all know, if you ain't never had no federal job, you jealous of the person who do have the federal job, because they got a life, boo. They can travel, and those federal jobs pay great money. But my husband was in the Air Force, but so was my father. And these young people who join the Air Force, well, it gives them the great opportunity to be a man, because you don't have to worry about taking care of your women and the children and the house and the electric bill. Because did you know the power bill is going to go there? In Texas, it's $600, but in Nevada, we have $451. Where are you at, and how much are you paying for your power bill? Because this is what it's going to be about. This election is all about resources, boo. But you better understand, when Trump said he only paid $725 for taxes, that's all he paid. Why? Because he saw everything as an asset. And did you know that you could write off $20,000 of your income if you pay a child or somebody, as long as it's under 20? I think you don't have to claim it. They don't have to claim it either. Thank you. It's just, it falls back on you. But I'm going to need to have donation, something donated my way. I'm going to have to change the way I'm living, because I can guide you. You have to do the work. So government accommodations are great. Certainly are. Companies, I mean, but what you don't even understand is, you know, the it's a party kind of thing. So Republicans really believe that, okay, we're all Americans and we're paying taxes, but we as local people should have the ability. No, Republicans really believe that, okay, we're all Americans and we're paying taxes, but we as local people should have the ability to talk about how we want to use those dollars. And the Democrats look at the whole population of the whole pot and say, okay, we're going to divvy it up. And that's what they've been doing, is divvying it up. But the federal government says, under the Constitution, we are all entitled to what is free and appropriate. Now, what does that look like to you? Well, I can measure it. Free and appropriate is measurable, annual measurable goals. And they have AMOs. They have all these acronyms. When we're talking about public education, they have a lot of acronyms, you know. And the American Rescue Plan was an acronym, but it was, you know, American Rescue Plan. And how they spent that money was, they really had all this damn flexibility. You'll see me pop in and pop out. That's what I really look like, but I don't know. I like the blue eyes. And so, because I'm looking at myself, and then I can see blue eyes. And I'm not going to wear the contacts. It's just, no, I'm not going to put those foreign things in my eyes. But some people have went to the extent of sewing, you know, changing their corneas and changing the color of their eyes. Well, they don't have to, because every time they use this app, AI will change it for you, and then you can change it back. It's up to you. But anyways, I done got off task. We were talking about government amenities, and then I'm going to tell you, part of the 2025 was to lower. They were going to, hello to everybody in the room, and welcome, welcome, welcome. I'm saying welcome and share, and welcome and share. And then I have to give myself love, because y'all don't understand this tapping thing that you do here. All this love that you give yourself, or somebody else can do it for you, because the fingers have to be busy. That helps you grow your, you know, whatever status, whatever it is. And then somehow, I have never made a penny on this app, but I'm going to work on making pennies, because I'll tell you, when I was over there on Anchor, well, I was making pennies, and it's okay, because I don't care. I just got, was a Two Square Media followed you. I don't know. I know you somewhere. Yes. And so I have to push invite. It's not doing anything. I push guest. And, oh, I invited you. Anybody's welcome. Good morning. Sitting out here on the patio. How are you?
Hi, I'm well.
Great,
Not
you
to
made
the,
it over here.
yeah,
You
I
know,
did.
I
Not
like this app. You know why?
Why is that?
Because a lot more people can tap or follow you, and you know, a lot more people can join in. You could put like 5 or 10 people on the side of you. They could have conversation, you know, or you could choose to be seen or not seen. It's your choice, and it really
Yeah.
doesn't matter, because this is the time where we're going to have to step up. So I still like ice for you. You're gonna have to step up, because we're just sowing seed, and the harvest we want to reap is what what our journey is lead. Our journey's leading us somewhere. Yours taking you somewhere. Mine's taking me somewhere, and I know that the narrative changed, right? So over the last 20 or 30 years, like there would be 2 newspapers in a town. Now there's just one major newspaper. And then the advertisers don't necessarily advertise with the newspaper. They advertise online, or they advertise on TV. You know, the money is all split up. But really, the deal is that who can control the narrative, and how we move the needle. And we can choose how we all move the needle. But just, you know, I'm going to tap and give myself some love right here, because I got to do it. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And so John's not up yet this morning. And what else is happening?
I don't
Trying to
know
think.
how to like. I'd like to show some love here.
All you have to do is tap the screen.
How much do I like this interaction? I like it very much. Let's
Yeah,
see.
but if you tap the screen, you just pause yourself. But oh, you went away. Well, you could come back. You could come back. I have to find you. I have to see if I can find you again. Go open up. Where are you? I don't know. You just popped out all the way. Yep. But anyways, the deal is what it is. This next part of America is saying that we all know that we're responsible for ourselves, and how we're going to move forward is key. And I didn't know that people in Texas were paying $600 for their power bill. I know that here in Nevada we're paying $451. And I'm dreading the day that 600 comes, but I don't know about the gas bill because gas went up over the summer, and somehow it's paying $40 a month, and I don't have any gas appliances in my home. And the one thing that was gas would have been the pilot, the pilot on the heater, but because the heater wasn't on at 120 degrees, there was no. I guess the line is open, but it wasn't actively using anything. But who are you going to tell? It doesn't. I got lost out still learning about the app. Well, whenever you want to come back, just request. You have to request. I had to find you first. Oh, I have to find you. I see you up there. And we're gonna find you. Nope. We gotta go here. There you are. You can come back now. There we go. But when you go over here and look on this side, it tells you there are 190 people in the room, and I have one guest, and that's it. So now you're back, and you see this, and it doesn't have a time frame. You're not limited on time. Okay, you're
Yeah,
good.
this music is jamming. I don't know who it is, but I liked it.
It doesn't matter. You could just play music in the background while you talk. John, if John was here, he'd be playing the music.
Right. It's nice to have a DJ. Somebody who's confident in those selections.
Yeah, because we have what you call. I'm gonna follow you now. Now, there we go. Now I'm following you.
Oh.
I got Sherry to get this app too. More people are gonna have to understand that it matters what's inside their head. If it's not outside your mouth or outside your box, nobody knows what you're thinking. And that's why they're able to continue to do what they're doing, because nobody's complaining. Who shows up? Nobody. So it makes a difference, because this election just demonstrated not enough people who think like us are at the table. Yep. But it's amazing because you get out and walk every day. I don't get out and walk every day. I should get out and walk every day. But water, walking, and making sure that we're buying the right staples, because we don't know what's going to happen. We just need to pay attention, because importing is going to be difficult because of the tariffs. And it's not going to be as much, you know, you know what I'm saying? And then the
Oh, yeah.
trucking.
The tariffs, that brings up a very complicated issue. And for domestic labor and how we've been using illegal immigrants for agricultural labor, one solution is to subsidize the farmers.
Well,
Or
they
we can
do
go back.
subsidize, but they do subsidize the farmers.
Yeah, we
That.
gotta subsidize their wages. If we're getting illegal immigrants to do this work for $5 an hour, then we want to do a minimum wage of $12 or $15.
You just have to
Cost of milk's
agree.
going to be very high, and
Well, what
things
you
like
have
that.
to, no, I think we have to agree that, not enough of us are doing the work. We have the opportunity to do the work, but not enough of us even understand what the process even looks like. And so, come on now, we're not asking what we should be asking for. People should hear us. And what I'm realizing in Nevada is almost difficult to participate in these committees. And I'm not going to use my money and go to a meeting to be able to say one word. No, I'm going to be here where I can say whatever I want to say, and just be careful about the trigger words that would get you restricted, because they're out there. You know what I'm saying? But it's amazing what's not out there. You can play your music. We can play whatever we want to play. We don't own the copyright to it, but the real deal is you don't have to own the copyright. You just have to mention it because it's foreign, and America's not getting those monies, for the plays. But if you do it on Spotify, because Spotify's an American company, or any American company, you can pay, or they're gonna bleep it because somebody wants royalty money from you, and they get the right to ask for it. Otherwise, we're not giving anybody anything. And with China being who it is, and China understanding, and we're letting China in on our technology, all of our technology. They just have their own version. But when you look at Netflix, understand the whole world is like Netflix. Look in there and look at the languages and all the countries that, the movies are being broadcasted in. And then the concept ideals behind the movies. Understand it's a concept ideal. And perception is everything. But if they're not like us, they're just not like us. They don't activate like we do. But we're in control of this activism. So I'm going to give myself some more love and say, come tap in the room and give me some love, because you just tap
Yeah,
the
let me
screen.
see.
Tap, tap,
Here
tap.
we go.
You see? If you tap the screen, then the hearts go up. That's what happens. And then, it's just real. What can I say? It's a new
Yeah.
day. And it really is. And so I don't know. Whatever the mail does today, today's Tuesday. John goes back to work today. And,
That'd be nice. It's good he's being well rested. That'll make you have
yes.
a way better day.
Way better day. And then, he deals socially with a lot of people. And I realize he's very intelligent for his age. And he's my son. You know what I'm saying? He's more mature than his father was. But his father had communication problems. And you have to look across our nation and understand so many people, they don't know how to communicate. They're argumentative. They want to win. There's no winning here. There is only sacrifice. And that's what we have to understand. It's a sacrifice. You have to give something, even if you don't want to give it, in order to what? Maintain solvency, right?
Right. And the thing is, for the passivity to become part of the personality might not be a great thing. But there's got to be some understanding that, well, of course, I'm going to let this person get their way right here because they're not governing my person or my life.
No, passive aggressive. We all have those tendencies. We find it difficult to see life if we've never been down that road. It's difficult to understand that all these wonderful things actually exist for somebody. But if you don't ask for it, you ain't getting it.
Well, it'd be nice if it was as easy as asking for it, and it almost is.
It is. I mean, because, Medicare's changed. And so Tyler's going to get $256 on Medicare for extra help, right?
Perfect.
And then because the benefits went up for his group, right? His subgroup of people who were born with disabilities. And then people who were work injured, they got a different rate for them. And I'm getting a premium plan, but I'm not getting the top of the line plan like Tyler because I wasn't born with a disability. However, I was state injured. And so that workers' comp crap, it's a joke. Every state had to establish what they would do for the injured workers. And so I got what I got. But people who are born with disabilities, the rate for extra help is, United Healthcare has the most, I think, is $256. And that's good. Because I'm going to take that money and put it towards the power bill every month. Because our power bill is $451.
Yeah, that's really great.
Yeah. And I'm going to get 100 and something. I'm going to put that towards the power bill. And then, in the winter, our power bill goes down because the heater is a whole house heater, but it's not like that unit outside in the heat trying to keep the house cool. That takes a lot. And it's just real. But look at our nation and what have we done? We've sold off our power grids and, we have foreign investors now that own certain things.
Well, that's the thing. We got to work something out. We can't say, hey, China, we're going to pay you back. We're going to pay you $8 billion a year. We need to come up with something else. And say, China, let's give you the head of our energy department. Let's make you co-counsel of our railroads or something. And let that be worth $8 billion. We can't give them a blank check.
You're saying we, and every time...
Bill.
But you're saying we, and I'm saying, how does we affect whatever they're doing? And I'm saying, we don't even as an individual living in your home, living in your small town, and I live in Las Vegas, it really doesn't matter. People are still what? They're still celebrating out there on the Las Vegas Strip. Viva Las Vegas. And Mr. Bojangles just danced. But when you look at the outcomes of the maintenance of effort, since we all, these tax dollars that are rolling in for all these wonderful programs and services, well, everybody should have the same access. And access is key. And I'm saying, but you can't possibly benefit in the end if you never were allowed to participate in the beginning. Do you understand what I'm saying? So they
Yeah.
delayed the start of early access here in Nevada till 7 years old. And I was listening in a meeting for one of these committees, and I heard somebody sitting on the dais saying, well, we could just delay to the age of 9. And I said, what the hell? Why even try to do anything at the age of 9? Somebody break that down to me, you know?
Yeah, somebody's got to pick up the slack. I'm telling you, there can be collaboration between Department of Health and
Yes,
Human
but
Services
people have
and
to
the
choose
Department
to
of
do what? People have to choose to show up. And I'm
Exactly.
saying, look where we are. Look at
It's
what
very
we've
different.
done. And I'm asking you, who is there and why? You understand what I'm saying?
Yeah, I can tell you that because for one, they know about the meetings. Number two, it is in their heredity to be successful
You
or
say heredity, and I'm saying your family. Whatever your family did, whatever your parents did, whatever you did growing up is what you do. It's just what you do.
that's right.
And
Their
then
parents at the table,
the
they got
negative thing is if you come from a family that has a lot of violence and a lot of dysfunction, that shit is not normal. No, it's not
Well, how
normal.
would they know? How would that family know?
They wouldn't know. And I'm saying that's what we have continued to, populate all over America. All this dysfunctional stuff. And then television. You know, what is television? You know what I'm saying? And then the
Yeah.
day the mistress came to what? To the Christmas dinner, and that's a movie, and then you just watch all that stuff that's going on. But when you first deceive someone, then you got a lie to hide, and then that lie just builds into another lie, and that lie just builds into another lie, and you're just constantly lying. And I was with my kids for lying, and then my mother, I didn't really whip them, but my mama tore that behind up, and they can talk about how my mother abused them. I say no, because she provided for you. And people don't have to provide for you, but they provide for you when they love you. You understand what I'm saying?
Yeah,
But
yeah. I know somebody who had a sister and she was helping support him through a time of difficulty. And he was like, man, that really kind of messed us up because she wanted to control me, is the point it got to.
well, the
But
control comes from, because you have to understand when somebody's participating and supporting you, you understand what I'm saying? They have to put their money on the table. They got something to say about what you're doing with in you know what I'm saying? What
for
status
whatever
are you
reason.
setting? What precedents are you setting? You understand what I'm saying? And so, and it really doesn't matter because when the money is going into the pot for survival, it needs to be on the survival things. So you have to, you know, I don't need anything. I'm sitting out here. I got this Mexican thing on. I got this hat
Yeah,
on. I got a sweatshirt underneath it,
real
and I'm
nice.
nice and warm. And then
Messing
the
or
AI gives, it's a poncho thing.
yeah.
These things are really, really warm, and I do mean warm. I can see how they survive and work out here out. They work out in the fields, and so this morning on Washington Journal, they had this farmer, and he was saying, he had to plant his crop before he can even have the workers come over with those visas to get those jobs. And he said he can't question the green card that was produced. And some people are just selling green cards. You know what I'm saying? Because anytime there's a dollar on the table, don't think somebody ain't going to get it. It's just sitting there.
Exactly.
And so he said he wasn't going to go down for discrimination and he wasn't going to be questioned on. He needed the stuff picked in the field. That's what he said. And so, I mean, if you guys just log on every morning, go to the Washington Journal. You don't have to be on one of those cable companies, but you do. But, they do have an app where you can go to your app store and download C-SPAN.
Yeah,
Morning.
that's how I see it.
How's everything?
Good, good.
They had a
It's costing right?
day about immigration.
Yeah, it's just I can't. let anything stay on.
You need to go and take it to Uncle Mike and see what's short. There's something
There's
shorting.
nothing short. It's just the battery. It's just,
Well, maybe we need to
they said to take it right there
to check it.
mhm.
Yeah, they do. They check everything.
Yeah, they checked it.
Mhm.
Said that it's fine. It's just low.
Well, I don't know if it's going to charge. Does it have water in it?
Yeah, it just said it's an older battery.
It is, and it's time to. Well, hey, if you're going to replace it,
So I gotta keep that.
yeah, you got to make the money.
Mhm.
Because in, pardon me.
The money.
Okay, well, be careful out there. That's what I got to say. My oldest, get ready to get out and do what he does.
Mm-hmm.
But I'm telling you, this is what I don't understand. This is what most people don't even try to comprehend. When single women have like 4 and 5 babies, right? Each one of those children will generate almost $20,000 for the local community, right? More than 20. And the whole thing is public. That's just for public school. But then for Medicare, they also generate money for the state. There's a dollar amount that's allocated for every human being based on their age and based on their abilities. There are monies that are allocated back from the federal government back to the state. Okay, so when we talk about anything about services, then people want to pretend like you're talking about policies. I said, no, I'm talking about laws. As an American, we all should be able to benefit from the mandatory participation in our system.
Yes.
You get it? Just an American. What benefit is because what are you doing? But you can set services you're entitled to because you ain't stepping up. So what? What do they care? They don't. And so when we have 88% of population of children in the juvenile facilities are black, and then one night these kids get out of hand and they trying to run. Now they all run around with torches. Now this was just it was just a quick thing that you flicker on TV, but it's a memory. And those kids were trying to bust out of juvenile hall. And I'm saying, well, who in our community, because we have so many black elected officials. And I'm saying, well, what committee? And I've been trying to go to those committee meetings and I can't seem to find them. And I'm saying, no, see, public option and public is public. And I should be able to come in, log on your stuff and make a critique because I can do that. I know how to do it. And I know how to email you. I know how to find you if you're out there. But if you're sheltering yourself and hiding because failed services is a real reality, and I have to question you, it's 2024.
Well, I don't like
more than
answering people's questions. But I say I have a problem giving answers to people's questions. Not you, but the public at
I
large.
can answer.
That's good for you. I have a problem answering questions, but I also don't like
but
to.
we're in the public right.
So that's why we like to publish media inconspicuously, if I can. There are some tools out here I've seen.
No, because you're putting.
AI
I hear you.
their own
Sorry,
podcast.
inconspicuous stuff, but I'm saying if you put an ideal out there, it's either a yay or nay. Anyway, and so therefore, what am I saying? It's out there. Someone's going to say yes or no. They don't have to take your concept, huh? And we know that, right? We just know it.
Yeah, it's a yes or a no, but if
There's
it's
so many
a
things that
no,
we do
I have a
understand.
very negative opinion about that person. And I wouldn't want to risk somebody having a negative opinion about me when I could have just stayed quiet and made an impression.
Objectives. What is is the object in the whole matter is to move forward in life. And where are we as Americans? And who are you in 2024? How far have we come? Let's talk about it. You can only look at that one kind of way. Did we move forward or did we drop back? I think we dropped back. And I'm not going back. You get it? So we have so many communities where the people have not done their due diligence and have brought harm to the local community. How do we deal with those situations? Who's ultimately responsible? Well, I'll say we're one nation under God. So the one nation is responsible. So I just question because every state is paying people for equal access under the stars. And when I look at the maintenance of effort or what happened to the people who look like me, I'm concerned. So I talk about it. That's why we're here. And so there's only one way to talk about it. Your view is your view. You can say, oh, I don't believe public dollars should go into public education. And I'm saying, guess what, boo? You don't get to choose that. It's something that happens naturally. You get it? That's
Yep.
what we paid for. Because you always paid, never knew, never had any idea who was controlling those dollars until now. Now you understand that they can put it on the table and take it back. And it's going to be up to you to protect your own interests. And that's just real, right? Think about it. I don't want to shut you down.
Yes, yes. Wow.
That is it's just awesome living in 2024 because these tools, we didn't have these tools before. We never had this kind of tools. And you're in Kansas City trying to tell me what Kansas is like. Dorothy and Toto, and I'm saying I watch that shit. Wonderful. We're off to see the wizard. I mean, the imagination when you're watching that damn television, it just goes on and on and on. And then it makes you engage in the process and think about, well, what would you do in that situation? But you're not in that situation. You're nowhere near that situation. And I'm saying, what are we really doing? We've committed ourselves to sitting in front of the idiot box. That's what I call it.
Yeah.
And oh girl, I gotta go home. I gotta watch my show. Oh girl, I got Young and the Rest. Oh, Search for Tomorrow. Oh no, Gilligan's Island. Oh, I Dream of Jeannie. Come on now. There's so much shit out there. MacGyver was awesome, but I know there are people out there that, can act like MacGyver. Lexus is one. Yeah, she's real. But I'm just saying, she don't
No,
like
he
she don't
does
like
help psychologically in a way.
Mm.
Help somebody
But I mean,
to an ideal or give their mind a break. Sometimes it's easy to get jammed up. But again,
yes, you're right.
we got to
It
curate
it it,
what our
and it
citizens
is a
want.
break. It is a break that we go through, and I could sit back and watch a whole series on that, on Prime Video or on on Prime Video or on
Yeah.
just be there. Fading my mind off of what? Off of what we have to live in and what's coming our way because we don't know. We really don't know what's coming our way. Hello, Queen.
But I think we're
Yeah,
going to see a
there's a
lot
lot
of
of
what's
people in
going
this room.
on during the Daddy trial next year. I think that during that time, there's going to
Well,
be some stuff that goes. It's going to be a big
you mean
distraction. The
Diddy
public.
or Puff?
Yeah.
Is it Diddy or is it Puff Daddy? Who
Oh,
is it?
it's Diddy. Oh, matter of fact, we're
P
all
Diddy?
incorrect. Actually, Love, I believe, is what he is. But yes, P Diddy now, at least.
I mean, but the whole thing is that I'm going to tell you honestly, I'm sick and tired of the narrative of who we are as individuals. My family wasn't like Bill the Cosby Show, and it wasn't like my three sons, and it wasn't like any of those. You know what I'm saying? My family was like my mother was working. Sometimes she'd work, you know, 4 on the 3 days off, she would take care of all of our needs. He didn't leave anything behind, but I didn't understand what was going on with them. You understand what I'm saying? And so,
Consider it for you to
communication
even
key.
think
You,
that of
you
what
can't
he could
keep
be.
your feelings hidden inside. You have a vessel, right? Your vessel, and you can't keep your the way you really feel inside, and then act out on
Right.
that behavior.
Well,
And I'm
that is
saying,
so interesting.
stop,
Yeah,
huh?
that's
I mean,
very
because I
interesting.
can get pissed off. And when I'm pissed off, I'm just throwing shit like I got right. I do got rights. This is my shit. I'm throwing it. But, the whole thing is that, if I had just went ahead and said what I had to say and got it off my chest. And then we can't blame
Right.
people for how they see things because they're going to see it like they see it. Why? Because they're on this journey just like you. And it is we the
Yeah, they're
people.
going to see it like that. Then they're going to hear something in the news or social media, and that's going to govern really or make them commit to an ideology.
Well, dictate. Yes. Yes, yes, yes.
I
Oh,
mean, just so quick confirmation
good
bias.
morning, Audacity. You know, the Audacity is here. She's awesome. You need to catch her show. Yeah,
Yeah,
because
okay.
she'll take you somewhere else that you haven't been. And that's just awesome. But the whole thing
Cool.
is this is 2024. The election happened. Maybe we thought that Kamala should have won, or whoever. It doesn't matter who's in the White House. You're an American first. And as an American, we need to look at what happened over the last 400 and something years for our people, because failure is just not an option. And that's just real. And it's up to us. If you allow failure to happen, the number is 30, hit all time high on 30 days. Brilliant. Oh, I don't know. I don't know what that is. But, anyways, I'm going to tell you, it's so important. It's almost Thanksgiving. What are we going to be grateful for? Because change is coming. And so expect change, but really expect the lesser quality of oversight. And we were just talking about right before the election about all the chemicals that are being put in the imports from China. And that's just real. And how it's affecting, making people sick. Their clothing, wearing clothing can make your child sick and you didn't even know. And I'm saying
That's
enough
interesting.
is enough. It's enough, right? We have to have, there used to be universities that Congress would work with in regards to all of the mandatory public things that have to happen, all the things that they invest in, like the Department of Forestry, federal dollars go in there. And so, and transportation, the roads, bridges, and all that, federal dollars, but they're universities, that are teaching the skills necessary to maintain our country. They were working with Congress and Congress members. Somehow, we got off the boat and we've got all the goddamn lobbyists sitting in there advocating for what? What they like to see. And the lobbyists can, at the last minute, and I did record. Remember that one? I recorded the video where she was just stating exactly what that is. She said, you have to understand at the last minute, if somebody wants to get a bill pushed through here in Nevada, they will get the bill pushed through. It will just happen. Osmosis. And then see the deal about the requirements for regulatory guidance. Well, that's where Donald came in. So many people had grants and all this free money was just floating in the states, but we're not reporting the legal responsibilities or requirements for the use of those dollars. And now here we are. It's 2024. They asking for waivers. Did they not know? Obama just got rid of all the waivers. I mean, the waivers. And a state can't give a waiver. A state just can't give a waiver. The federal government has to approve your plan, but and I'm
Well,
sorry.
it's so challenging because, for example, in my state, everything goes a certain way. They're extremely conservative situation. The General Assembly
Mandating
very,
because
very old.
it
So
really
even
has to do with who's
coming
coming to
up
the
is
table.
one thing, but writing a legislative resolution as a private citizen could be very difficult.
Of course, if you don't have a group of people doing it, I mean,
Exactly.
it has to be more than one. Because that song. One is the loneliest number that you ever knew. Right? You knew it. That's a
I
white
talked
voice.
to my city
One
attorney
is the
about this.
loneliest number.
He said there are a couple of people in town he thinks that could write like a countywide proposal or a citywide proposal to get
It's
a
the
code.
concepts and who would be challenging to try to get the money. And I'm
No,
saying you want to be at the table with people who are working towards bringing about this change. What change for the better? What are we going to
it
do? Just
doesn't
keep
have to
on
do
moving
that.
forward. What do we do now? Just keep on eating. We can't not eat, but we can fast. And we can take our time and review what's happening because every state has an obligation. We are 50 something states. And it doesn't mean that we're going to break away and not be a part, not going to be a territory. No, Blue, it's never going to happen. You're not going to part California, Nevada, Mexico, and Texas up and we be a state or Washington. Not going to happen. Just not going to happen because we're from all those other states. I was born in Mississippi. Mississippi. And guess what? They had the water. They were killing the people with the water. And I'm saying, let's just understand basic services and what our Congress members are actually doing up there. I really want to know. How is it that the water is toxic? And then people are just plain old selling water, and that water is killing people. Oh, Lord. Where is the oversight? Somebody help me with it. I'm just confused. It's 2024, and somehow we are still knocking at their door, and that's just real. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Change is here. And so, irregardless, I mean, you have an opinion. I told you your show could be, I have an opinion. You have an opinion on it. You don't expect people to take your opinion. They have a right to their own. And maybe with their journey and your journey and my journey, we can talk about outcomes. You understand what I'm saying? Because we're
Right.
all at the table. But hell,
You're
if
right
you
about
never make
that.
it to the table, you just never
Exactly.
make it to the table.
There was a black man from Mississippi was telling me, he said, yeah, people try to tell you to pull yourself up by the bootstraps. He said, but what if you don't have any boots? You know, and I
This is what I'm telling you. I'm telling you. See, the Biden-Harris administration, she actually just looked. Would you like to come up? And I don't know. Audacity says she might come up. I don't know. Let me see how that does. Invite. Okay. And the whole thing is that it's we the people. But if people choose not to do what? Stand and be heard. It's real. So stand and deliver. That's what I'll say. What is that? Okay. I don't know how to do it. Want to do that? Oh, I don't know. Anyways, what? Next time I'll pick a box, or pick the box of how many people can be in the show. You know what I'm saying? Because
Yeah.
you could set it up. I have to spend more time out here learning about the show. I did. I went into the Zoom app because somehow my administrative rights were changed, and then I couldn't access the desktop. I couldn't share my screen. I didn't have a right, and then all of a sudden my damn camera went away. Now I'm not changing. The settings in the goddamn app. But in order to stay and be able to engage out here, you have to understand what the settings should look like. And you have to make sure that they're set right. And you have to make sure that people can hear you. Hey. And that you're not just talking to the wind.
Oh,
And-
yeah. I did a great podcast on wisdom one time, and you just couldn't hear anything. The whole thing, you might have heard like one word out of a 25-minute talk. But
And I'm saying that was a message that should have been shared and probably was shared for the people who were in the room, but not necessarily. Right?
yeah, not necessarily. Even if they
We have
could
to go
hear
back and check our work.
our
We
jargon.
really do.
Yeah, it's always best to.
It is always best to check your work. So sometimes I go back and check, and then even out here, because I don't know how to get the file from here. But Podbeam allows you to download the file. You can just export it to your saved drive, and then you have to somehow it has to play in your saved drive before you can upload it to Spotify. But you can still put files in Spotify. I take them from Podbean and put them over there, and then of course Zoom. I did not know you can Zoom live stream on. You can live stream on which Spotify. You can use Zoom live stream on Spotify and stream live, and I did
Yeah.
not know. Well, I pay for that. I just have to figure out when you get in there, you have to be ready to do the work. That's just real because I don't know about setting it up prior to. I think all these apps are just applications, and they just work based on what? Your ability to navigate the process. Stand up. It's real. Yeah, but God is good every day, not just some days. And the mere fact that we're breathing, we woke up this morning, we have an opportunity to what? Bring about a change that would benefit us as a people. And who are you in 2024? That's what I say. So as an American citizen, that's what we have to wonder. Who are we? What are we doing? And how are we going to get there? It just has to be real. And because you know people, and people might think they know you, even if they've looked at your work and read your work, and it's difficult when people think that they know you and they don't, because they would like to put words in your head, and they're not going to be able to because why?
Words in your head. That's funny.
Mhm.
What kind of
Well,
technology?
you understand what I'm saying. Change the narrative because everybody has a perception. Hey, Peanut is in the room. Mhm. And then, and I'm just saying, it is amazing just to know what we have the ability to do in this 2024. How do we come together and talk about culture? Because we, like, hey, when I see them out there doing that, the line dancing with the fans, and they snapping them and popping them, well, you don't see. That's when I say they're not like us. You ain't gonna see maybe one or two, but most people don't have that level of rhythm within them. You get it, right? It just doesn't exist. It's soul. Most people don't have soul. But we have to understand that there are so many unhoused people living in America. And why? I'm confused. Because Daniel Boone was a man, right?
Hmm.
And we saw what Daniel Boone was able to do. Well, you just can't do that. But then there are people out here, and then, you know, your new president or your rehired president was talking about how other cultures do eat animals, pets. We consider to be pets. They consider to be delicacies. But that's not America, right? But
Right.
hey, talk about that. But
I mean,
hey,
we
what
got
kind
to
of
ask ourselves how effective and how right was it to impose American democracy on foreign nations? People
I
that
mean, but
our ideologies are nowhere near to say, hey, you guys need to do American democracy. We don't know if that was right or wrong. How wrong is China by doing the same thing in Africa?
we all
Coming,
have an opinion, and I'm just saying those Fuente brothers, those two boys. I don't care. At their age, their dad was having intercourse with them. Their father was, and he had been doing it for a long time. And it's not like the mama didn't know; she knew. And they had so much pain and anger that they struck out. That hey, they had weapons in the home. They taught them how to use them, and they used them. They stopped the violence, and I don't see that as being wrong. I think that people knew that shit was going on and they didn't intervene, especially the mother. Why? So your husband is ramming up your children's behind and you ain't saying nothing? Come on now. It's real. People are so messed up behind. We just all broken. We're just a broken nation because when you look at China or even if you look at Korea, North Korea, and
hmm
then how disciplined they are. Well, you don't see us putting on no parades. We're not putting on those kind of parades. It ain't local like that.
No,
Well, what is
but I
it?
know that South Korean parades aren't even as great as North Korean parades, according to Kim Jong Un's sister. She says that y'all's
I
parades.
know, but guess what? The people who choose not to participate may be starving on the street, and guess what? People walk by them and let them starve. That's what
Well,
happens.
depends what you're saying.
That's
Like in North Korea, they might not have a choice to participate.
yeah, they might not.
No, like here
I
in
mean, but you have to
my
understand
area,
the expectations of people.
the best thing to
People in
do
other
is
nations have different expectations, and they just do. Huh?
meetings. I said the best thing to do here in the U.S. is go directly to the government municipal meetings because, for example, I can go
Local.
participate with my local NAACP, but how's that going to benefit me or my
It
community?
doesn't. That's wait. Hold up. Just because you with the NAACP doesn't mean that they're doing the work of
That's
every
what I'm saying.
individual
So
in the
that would be very
NAACP has an
ineffective
obligation to do
for
exactly
me
what
to
I'm doing, exactly
participate
what
in
you're
that
doing, and
way.
bringing it to the table. Did you hear what I said?
No, I didn't.
Okay, because you was talking. I
Right.
said every agency like the NAACP has an obligation to train the individuals, bring the work to the table, and have that discussion. And now, if you ain't discussing what you found out by the wayside, then they're not talking about it because they didn't do what you did. And I'm saying the universe has a job specifically just for you. It's your job. Now, how you apply it is key. But when you have been given the gifts and then you choose not to sow the seed, what am I saying? Help me in
That's
the
what,
morning. Help me. That's what I say.
yeah. I mean, it's a
Mhm.
shame. It's a shame before God
It's a
to have.
journey. It's a journey. Understand there's no right and wrong here. We're not right. We're not wrong. I can say what I see, and you don't see what I see. And as you don't see what I see, what can I say? life, liberty, and the pursuit of, because that's what it's all about. We're just blessed and highly favored, and that's just real. And as long as you're able to share, you're able to plant seed to reap the harvest. And as a nation, we're not going back. And I say that simply because when they publicly discuss the ages of start time for all children, and somehow they don't come out with the data to talk to you about what they've chosen to happen for your people, and then your people are just not benefiting. That's bullshit. No, we all pay. So therefore, I'm going to question you. The thing in Tennessee demonstrated this, that man, he had a job and he was told what to do by his whatever. And then that whole party vote decided that he wasn't going to do it. And then people from all over the place just jumped in and said, oh, hell no. We're tired and sick and tired of this. You don't get to control who we are. As an American, we pay our own way. Do you
That
pay your
shows
way?
a lot of rebellion. What you're saying is very important. I said it's a lot of
It's
rebellion.
perception. It
Yeah,
is not a rebellion. It is perception. And that's it. That's all it is. But you don't know what you don't know. And I know I was a Kaiser Permanente person. I was in Kaiser since I was 11 years old. And then at one time when I was working, I had a workers' comp. And then I had chose Kaiser as my provider, and because they were treating physicians anyway under the state of California. Because if you have a child and you have children, the state pays for you to have them babies. You don't have to worry about it. The state pays for you, and they also give you some money, some stipend money, whatever, and then they give you food money and health care and everything. They help, and then they encourage you to go back and get some education so you can talk about how it worked for you. But if you choose not to, then guess what? People don't have to. There is no requirement to show up in America. You just don't have to show up. We could just
yeah,
see
no.
you on paper, and you
My
just
question,
glistening like gold, and look and say, all that gold sitting over there, I'm going to get me some. Oh, you ain't getting. Oh, well, what can I say? I can't help you unless you're willing to help yourself, and that's just real. But we all need to understand what this is all about. And there was a little mini skit, right? Because it's mama and daughter. Now the mama is big, she big girl, and then the daughter, she a big girl too, but she about 4. She ain't older than 4. She about 4, and the woman still had her on Pampers and a bottle, and her mama was in the room. And she said, well, why don't you do that for that girl? And I'm saying, just understand, at 5, she's going to be required to go to school. And she's still on Pampers and a bottle. Well, what happened though? I'm confused. I mean, because there's a requirement to see a physician at certain ages. It's the requirement. It's what Medi money is all about. Medicaid, Medi money. Hey, we love Medi money, because if we can put Medi money in the state, that means that people will have jobs to provide what? Medical services for your ass. And then we'll have, it's commerce. You understand what I'm saying? You hear me, right? You get it. You just have to think about this shit. Okay. So that baby is about 80 pounds at 4 years old. And I'm saying, oh no, she obese. You know what the obese does to your body? When there's all those chemicals storing all that fat, and it's just, you can't even walk right. Just
yeah.
puffing and puffing. You can't even breathe. Don't you see you're hurting yourself? It's just pain. And it's pain that I see. But you don't see what I see. And
Yeah.
so I'm saying Daniel Boone was a man. Hell, Daniel Boone just went out there and fought the Indians and built a house with the log cabin. And hell, don't we got some trees somewhere where some people can build a home? Oh, they ain't gonna let you, because you don't get to live free. And that's just real. When I moved here, there was a man that was living in a cave, and he was a black man. And they forced him out and blocked that cave up so he couldn't get up in there. He couldn't live free. Do you understand what I'm saying? But there are people that are living under the tunnels. And these city council people have been destructive because they made rules, and then they closed up the ends of the tunnel so the people, when the flash flood happened, so many people would die down there. Got to get the bodies. Come on now. Who's making those decisions? Well, they recently agreed, the city council agreed to ban over 250 citizens from going down on the Las Vegas Strip. They can't go down there no more. Why? Because their behaviors impeded them from participating. And so if they go down there, they'll get a ticket or they will be jailed. Do you understand what I'm saying?
Yep.
I mean, they just created jobs for themselves, right? And then people would tell you, "Oh, you're talking about politics." No, boo. I'm talking about what's happening for me and what's happening for you, because it is real. Now, I'm willing to accept donations and get people to where they need to get, but they're going to have to do the work. So inbox me if you have questions. If I can help you, I'm going to help you. You know, there is an organization called the Corporation for National Community Service. Volunteer in your own city. Really, AmeriCorps, Vistas, NCCC, where you actually go and live and do 3-month things and work on a project, and then you do like 2 or 3 projects in your year of service, but you make money. And you have a roof over your head, and you're collaborating and working with people. And guess what? You're learning how to communicate, because that's one thing I know taught me as a Vista. I learned how to communicate effectively. And life is about communication. This is how we roll. This is how we roll. I like that song. How we roll. I didn't write that one though, but I can. You know, it's just real. But God is good, and so every day I look forward to sharing another message. And I don't have to empower everybody. I can't teach you how to have faith. You have to have faith on your own, and you know. And it's that faith of the mustard seed that is going to outlast us all. I don't know what's going to happen. I know change is coming. I know we need to think about getting the necessities in our homes, because, you know, all those tariffs are going to affect bringing in, you know what I'm saying? It's going to affect us all. And then we don't even know how long, you know, money is going to be around. We don't know anything. But if you have something, you'll be able to barter. Barter for what you need, dude. Right? It's real.
That's what they say.
Yeah, somebody else is coming in. David, good morning. Pardon me? He went away. He wasn't clear.
Well, like I say, it's good that you are ready for this and these changes. I don't know how long.
Too. Look,
Well,
you are too.
I promise you, I just simply side with the government authoritarianism. That's just how I
I mean,
choose.
but it's not authoritarianism. I mean, because we all chose to live under this one rule, right? We chose to be Americans, but it doesn't. That's why I said there are 50-something states, and each state you could activate. You understand what I'm saying? By
Yeah, I'm not right because I'm not. Only really personally concerned with affiliating myself with the people that are in control. I'm not the one saying, well, they're in control. How can we have a nice life? But there are a lot of people, and it's very important that people do focus their attention and saying, well, how can we all live well under this system? And that's great.
That is the Constitution. That is, I mean, but when you look at the census and how America was established, understand that that was how we were established. And that's just real. We're supposed to look at how we create access for all children. That's why there is special education. There's a reason why there is Head Start. There's a reason why there is Child and Family Services. There's a reason why we created this system and then given states back the dollars to help us sustain America, living one nation under God. And we have all these different, you know, beliefs. And we certainly have so many beliefs, and that's just real.
I just think we have a lot of capable people in the government, people like you that are almost like a liaison to inform government decision makers of what they're missing. You know, there's a large disconnect between.
So say it. So you think there's an important link for citizenship, for people, individuals to talk about how life has affected them locally. And that's all you're saying.
Yeah. That's what I'm saying. It's very important.
I don't have a job. Huh?
I mean, it's very important to hear from the people who don't have a job and find out how they can be accommodated. Because in my ideal situation of the government, there should be no concern really of the person. At some point, the government, there are going to be some things put in place. We're going to feel like, well, not we, but the government should feel like, well, we have done what we have done to acknowledge the general population. We cannot accommodate everybody. So we are going to continue to
Well,
operate
see, and that
in a
is a problem
centralized.
because no, that's what the farmer said. He said, I can plant these fields, but I'm not going to put $1 million worth of product in the field and not be able to get the workers to come dig it up. And that's just it, right? That's what he said.
Yeah, of course. And that's
And that's
the
the
thing
end.
with
That's the end
immigration
where you are,
today.
morning. Somebody's in there.
You got to be careful trying to deport illegal immigrants into
I don't
effect.
know if he knows he's in the room.
Come on, hold on here.
Can you hear him?
Yes, I can hear you.
Oh,
Hello.
well, good morning.
Yes, here is good evening. We in Africa, in Ghana.
Oh,
And
wow.
you?
I am good morning here in Las Vegas.
Well, I'm
And
in
here,
the United States.
mhm.
About 6 hours from Chicago, Illinois. But it's nice to meet you from Ghana.
Yeah, Stevie Wonder's over there in Ghana. He chose to go over there.
Well,
As
that's
an American.
great.
Yeah,
Must be a beautiful place.
I'm sure it is.
Yes. So, the government has a lot of things that they've got a concern about, and the citizens got to be prepared to
That's
get
why
the assistance that the
it's just
government's going to
important.
have.
It's important that you have an opinion. It's important that we have an opinion as African Americans, but it really to pretend that we are not oppressed here in America as Americans is real. And I haven't been, for whatever reason, the last time I believe I wrote to the Department of Justice in regards to being marginalized out here in the social apps. You understand what I'm saying? 'Cause
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
it's not something you can
So
do.
it's morning in the United States and it's evening in Africa.
Yes.
Okay. What's the topic about today?
Well, at this time, we're talking about how the citizens are going to be able to apply to get government services. If the government makes food programs available, if they make income programs available, how is the citizen going to get it? And also being in a position to tell the government what it is that the citizen needs. But the government are full of people that have always had what they need. These people are upper middle class. Their parents might be worth millions of dollars, and then they work for the government. They have no idea that somebody out here doesn't have food, has a hard time getting housing. So we got to figure out who we need to talk to, tell them what we need from the government.
That's what
Because
citizens
what the government does, it is not enough. They couldn't possibly understand how difficult it is to get a rental house, rent an apartment if you were evicted, even 10 years ago. That's how you've been evicted before. Basically, you can never get housing again. It's very difficult and absurd.
But I mean, but it's what follows you in life. You know, you're
Yeah.
sowing seed, but if you're not successful in any part of it, especially in public school, then you don't have access anymore. Here in Nevada, they say at the age of 11, you can lose your gifted and talented person for life. You know, for life. At the age of 11, because you have a habitual disciplinary problem. I could go and read that. You know what I'm saying? But the whole thing is that anybody can go and find that.
Okay, Andy, I will be at the comment section because I'm not in the United States and I'm not a United States citizen, you understand? I'm not a citizen in the United
Nice to meet
States, so
you.
I'll be at the comment section. Yeah, nice to meet you too, Andy.
Mhm.
And I understand, but we because most
But just so you know, historically simply choose to affiliate with a centralized, controlled government. I'd rather just one person make all the decisions, and I want to be on that team.
well,
Historically,
that's what
I'm
the
not
Constitution
interested
is all about.
I'm not interested in public advocacy for people that don't have. Now, this is the time to get there to have something and get the mechanism set up so people can be serviced. But at some point, I think that the government should control the lives of people. And we are looking at almost the end of democracy and the beginning of authoritarianism. So what happened at the end of democracy? Transgender kids getting hormone treatment in school, pornographic books in public school libraries, and then keeping that from the parents. Also, illegal immigrants getting thousands of dollars in food stamps and housing, while American citizens get none of that. And
Well,
that
I mean,
was
but
the
who's
end of democracy.
and whose problem and how did that come about? Because lack of what? Lack of
Centralized
engagement.
control. Lack
No,
of
lack of
centralized control. Too
lack
many
of
people
oversight.
have too many opinions.
Huh?
That was the problem.
So many people just chose not to. They don't do anything. You know what I'm saying? Here
Well,
in America.
that's
But
right. And that's where we're at right now, is we need like people like you to tell the government and people like me to tell the government, hey, you're trying to help, but you're missing people like me. You know,
no,
we're
but
not
this
benefiting.
is what I think. I think we need to empower others so we can come as a full force. One person, ain't no one monkey gonna stop no shit.
I understand that. And I agree. But there's got to be somebody who's skillful. If you can't write the grant and provide the services yourself, then you have to know who's getting the money. And that's who you need to be talking to, the people who are going to get the money.
Right, 'cause
Otherwise,
it's local
talking to the
control.
government isn't
I
going to
think
change
about
too much.
local control and how the locals do it. But if nobody's complaining, just understand there's not a problem. It's not a problem because people are not complaining. And, you know, as an African American living in America, George Floyd was a problem for me. Amir Locke was a problem.
Why is that?
Aubrey was a problem because they were unalive for what? Perceptions. And enough is enough. Why are we still unalive for the perception of failure to comply? Because we're citizens too. So it's my question. Everybody needs to think about it because this election, people voted for no rules because they're tired of the rules. And the rules are the rules and the rules are the rules, but the rules still apply to you. Understand it doesn't change. That's why we still have the courts and still have the judges and still have these decisions coming down, but change is happening. People are not going to follow the rules. Why should they? If all that money is sitting on the table, what would make them leave it there?
Well,
I just want to know.
well,
I mean,
for
so-
one, the states aren't going to spend that money. The states are going to lie so that they can get the same amount of money again. But what they're going to do is keep that money in their treasury and bank the interest.
That's what they're trying. That's what they've done forever. It's just the problem is that this is 2024 and the big C happened. And after the big C, we could see everything. And everybody could see everything. And they
I'm
said, well,
concerned.
let's just talk about access. And so it was around time that when the big C happened that the BLM movement happened, right? And I had to be careful how I say that, but you know, it happened around that time. And then failure has always been an option, but you know, we used to have other skill-based services. You could go to school and learn how to be an auto mechanic. You could go to school and learn how to be a plumber. People go to school and learn how to be a seamstress or learn a skill, so they could get a life. Now, someone is just monitoring their behavior and saying they're not living up to par. And I'm saying, what is living up to par? What is social and emotional learning? You're not teaching these people how to communicate. They're hurting each other because they have a lack of knowledge, and therefore, it's not understandable anymore. You know, and who should be talking about that? Well, the people who are being hurt. It's just real. It's we the people. And when you understand, the democracy says that we come together under this huge tent of republics and fight for what is right. We just got to fight for our rights because tomorrow will never come if we don't fight for our rights. It's just real. You don't know when tomorrow's going to come, but it may come and it may not come. But it's okay because we're still
That's
here.
right.
We're still
That's
here.
right.
Yeah. And so I
Well, we
don't
know
think
there are changes, but we don't know how long it's going to take.
we have no
Elon Musk likes to
idea.
work very fast. NVIDIA is an AI microchip company,
Did
and
I
Elon
say,
Musk
did I
bought
say you?
100,000 of these
Mhm.
chips and servers. It generally takes like 4 to 2 years to
Oh yeah.
install 100,000 servers. This guy, he did it in a couple of months.
Mhm.
So he likes to work very fast. So it's encouraging to think that the Department of Government Efficiency, that's going to be regulating government spending, is going to work pretty quick. But otherwise, it is the same old song: change is going to come, change is going to come. But,
Change is coming, but
when it
it's
really does
also
come, are we ready?
it's just a limitation of oversight. And the harvest is still the harvest. So if you're going to be, I mean, if money is allocated for services for your people and you, and then you didn't show up to get them, well, what should I say? Because all that money was sitting on the table. Should we just
Here's
say,
the thing. Well, it's a little more complicated than that, because
no,
I can't just show up and say, hey, give me the money. I've got to have an
no,
eligible business. I've got to understand the grant
no.
process. And if I
Listen,
don't, then I'm not going to be a service provider.
no, but listen, maintenance of effort, and all children are supposed to be enrolled in public education until K-12. And some people drop out at 24, some people drop out at 26, some people drop out at 18. It depends on what your state has decided. And every state chooses how they're going to, mentor their citizens, and that's just real. So, I mean, but if the people who would be benefiting from these investments never show up, and they're just not making it, and they're just, I mean, more services are being provided to them, but not at their choice. The lockup is real. What am I saying? It's an individual choice. It's really people just choose not to show up. It's real. Because pimping ain't easy, and I say GOTDAN.
Right.
I'm nuts. Because that's just a lot of money sitting out there on the table, and nobody's paying attention to it. So all these services that
Right.
are entitled to,
That's what I'm saying. But then again, Darlene, it's gotta. I mean, I can try to be there, and the more that I'm there, the more I would learn. But if I don't have the business that is set up to understand the grant process, then I'm not going to get anything out of it.
no,
But
I'm saying you're investing
being
in
a
your
part of that process, I understand what you're saying.
saying we're still living every day. Every day I'm improving. Every day I'm doing something different. Every single day,
Glad to hear that.
working.
Who's that?
Harrison,
Oh,
I'm on TikTok now. He said he's just not getting up.
I told you there's an app called Clappers that everybody's getting on. That everybody's
What's up, brother?
You have clappers? I don't have clappers yet. No. One day at a time. And I'm doing
Yep.
all these, and
But
we're seeing how they work. But, they're working differently because I told you Podbean got a problem. It starts streaming my stream that had past stream when I'm talking, and people can't hear me talk over top over other apps. So I'm saying, oh bullshit. That's a problem. And it is who am I going to tell? When I call to tell them, they don't appreciate it. They really don't. But Microsoft has to, as long as you're under warranty, fix your issues. But you have to communicate first and stop it so your phone doesn't really come back. Bullshit. They just do too much. Yep. I'm trying to get some, I'm trying to get some, popping in the room up there on the top. I got to see. I'm going to see how many people are in the room. So what's your plans for today? We only have 273 people. We need to get more people in the room.
Well, what do I got planned for today? I don't know. Just doing some administrative stuff. It's really about it. Trying to do some administrative stuff. I really tuned into that video you gave me to where these guys were talking about setting up a trust. That's very important. But I just
There's so much to
I'm
learn
so
from.
intimidated by I'm so intimidated by the regulation process from the state. I'm just like, man, it's crazy. But if I don't, I'm losing out.
Well, they would make it difficult because everybody shouldn't be at the table.
Yeah,
And they're not trying to help you get to the
I
table.
agree.
That's real.
I agree.
So they look out for their friends like Martha Stewart.
Everybody does
Martha
not
Stewart.
Come on now.
I mean, but they
But they would. The government doesn't know.
Nobody did. Nobody involved with that shit did.
You talking about her insider
They let
trading
her be the
situation?
fall person.
Well, they let her be the fall person because she's not a bad person. You got to think about it. She fucked with Snoop, all that. Like, she really had people really concerned for her.
Yeah.
But she was ready to go up.
Well, that was the thing about it. He was
just
asleep about it. Some of the other people that were complicit, they had their attorneys get ahead of that situation, or somebody to clean up their mess. She was the less clean one. You
the
know,
one
some
that
people
took the
insider
fall.
trade all day.
She was the
They're
one.
just real smart about it.
I mean, but you have to look.
Like
and see
you were
what-
saying, some people manipulate the stock market
But it's
real
more than
real
stock
good.
market. I mean, look
I
at
just
look
need
at
to
the gun.
manipulate
Look
it
at
in
the
my
gun
favor.
lobbyists. Now look at the gun lobbyists, and then look at all those shootings. All those shootings.
I guess it was a lot of things that happened this weekend to her.
Right. So what that means is that it's common sense to get rid of the guns and to regulate the guns. That's common sense. But you know, nobody wants to necessarily do that. But the lobbyists are ahead of it every time. Laws are passed before the public ever hears about it a lot of times. We don't have a chance to put in our opinion. It's over before we ever hear about it.
Well, an opinion is like whatever. My grandma says everybody got one. An opinion is like the a-hole because everybody got one, and it really matters.
I did want to clear it up. Well, it's cool that it matters, but to clear it up, that unfortunately, I am on the side of authoritarianism. I think that's where we are. I would rather work for
It's fine if you
and
wanna
be on
have
the
more
side of that.
regulation. I mean, there are rules and there's a process, and I'm all for the regulatory guidance because guess what? My money's not going to be out there just for the free spirit of whatever. I mean, because when they gave me my Social Security, they also took $30,000 away from me. That money went to pay somebody's salary. You understand? It didn't come back to me. It didn't recycle in my house. And so I'm saying, okay, we all have to have
Right.
these services, and we all pay
Well,
for it because even when I was making $1.64, some of my money was going to taxes, and that's just real. And I started working so long ago, but it really doesn't matter. What is considered work? This could be considered work for some people. Hello? People are making a living off of it. And if you get some money, some kind of way, somebody's measuring the maintenance of effort because you're getting money. So I don't know. I don't know where we go from here. But it's certainly not Mr. Bojangles because he ain't dancing no more. And that's just real. We're not going back. And so
Yeah.
when people tell me I'm talking about public education,
I don't know. I know what I'm supposed to do.
well, me too. Because when
And getting out and doing some podcasts and stuff like that, that's pretty cool.
well, I talk about public education, that's for real.
It's helpful in a way, but I do get concerned about what to do with data. Yeah, I know it is for real, and that's wonderful. And a lot of people need to be more like you. They really do.
No, it's not being like me. It's being like whatever God had for them to do, because it's going to take all of us to make it. You know, everybody's got a certain gift, a certain talent. We're going to have to be, you know, there'll be just people who are just making peace in the room so we can continue to love each other through the struggle, because we're going to fight over some real resources. I mean, that's just real, because the rules will allow you play the
Here's how I
game.
feel.
No? If you play the game, the rules allow you to benefit.
Here's
That's
how I
all.
feel.
And for people who choose not to play the game,
It's true.
they don't understand that they're the harvest. What can I say? You got to get up. You know, you got to do something for yourself. And you know, failure's not an option.
Here's what I think.
But I tell you one
I think
thing:
that Donald Trump
failure's
wants
not
to
an
give his
option.
friends tax breaks and stuff like that. I think we should allow him to do that. We
What do you
should
mean?
completely allow him to do that very small thing. Because if he gets what I'm getting at is
all those. I
Donald
wanna
Trump,
say-
the president of the United States.
Yeah, he is. And guess what?
He
All
should
the-
be able to help his rich friends and businesses.
Well, that's what he's going to do.
And once
That's
he
what
can do
every-
that, then he can help everybody else. Right.
No, that
So
is-
once he
why do
does
you
that,
feel that there's
then
help
he
coming
can
from
focus
you?
on the country.
No,
But
see,
we
you
shouldn't
want,
challenge him on that.
No.
What?
There's not one person that's going to save you. You're going to have to save yourself, because you're going to have to realize that you got the obligation is to understand
Right.
the rules and to play the game. And you know, it's not que sera, sera. Otherwise, it is
Well,
que sera, sera.
I can't necessarily save myself. there's a set of
You have
decisions that I can
you
make that
have
is going to be the
saved
best for
yourself
me.
up until now. Don't tell the lie. Because if you didn't, you wouldn't be out here talking to me. If you didn't choose to save yourself, we wouldn't be talking today.
Yeah, you're already a miracle, dude.
He is a miracle.
Yeah, you don't even know.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, I'm in America. But see,
No, a
a
miracle.
miracle. But see,
A
like I'm
miracle.
getting at. Yeah,
A miracle because you're still
yeah,
standing.
it's a miracle, all right. But there were
You
people
know,
along the way that helped me, and I didn't know who they were, and sometimes I did know who they were. But I mean, it's just random conversation. You know, we really should allow Donald Trump to go ahead and benefit his friends and businesses
yeah,
so that he
but
can
you don't have,
focus on
we
the
don't have to
country.
allow him
But if we
to.
try to stop him and fight him along the
No,
way,
nobody's
he's
fighting him.
probably going to
You
make some
don't.
spiteful
No,
actions.
you don't. I mean, you're going down a path I'm not
I
going.
don't think they are either.
I don't care who is
Oh, I
in.
know.
I could care less. What I do care about is my rights and my privileges and my liberties. And I have a concern that I'm paying $451 for the power bill. But when I heard homegirl, then I called in about my Medicaid this morning, and she told me she paying $659. I'm saying, well, goddamn,
Yeah, there's a lot.
I'm blessed.
There's a lot of people paying way higher than
Yeah, it's just
Yeah.
crazy.
like rent, 700-800. What I
700.
was paying.
Oh, that's crazy for your power bill,
For your
just to have
power bill.
electricity bill, just to wash your ass. You got to pay
Yeah,
700. Come on now. And I'm saying survival is key, but what are we doing? Because survival is about you and me. And if we had a choice of colors, which one would you choose, my friend? If there was no day or night, which would you prefer to be white? How long have you hated your white teacher? But who
Whatever
told
can
you to love that black teacher? You know what I'm saying. And to respect your mother's women friends, but share with black
Yeah.
folks. Not good. Now you can go listen to that. Good morning, sunshine.
Good morning.
How are you?
I'm good. How are you?
I'm blessed and highly favored because I'm still here.
Hello.
That's good.
And so I'm just talking about access this morning. It's key that we talk about access because we have to talk about access for the babies. And we don't really understand what happened over the last 30 years, but we didn't really educate more people. And what happened is I think we got away from the great debates, but they're back. And we're just debating who should benefit.
Okay.
Yeah. And so, I mean, a lot of people just don't understand that the rules are the rules and never change. And Title I is Title I. 30, 60, 90 days into the school year, you're supposed to look at your plan and talk about what worked, but work with your community and talk to the parents at the school. And then in a high school level, you're supposed to include the high school students. But when they're just monitoring the behavior, and we know the behavior's out of control because they all watch them sexy dancing shows and that popping that ass and twitching, and it's real. I'm saying, but that's not real life because you can't get out there and twerk your way to heaven. It's not going to happen. You might make a lot of babies, but then we see Elon Musk with good babies. And guess what? He just has the benefit because he's watching us.
Well, you know, Darlene,
Yes.
what in Africa, sometimes the twerking is almost a health mechanism, and it brings about blood flow to the.
I mean, but America has made it sexualized.
Yeah.
It's what America has made it sexualized.
Oh no, it's good for us. Don't get it twisted. We are supposed to twerk, but the way they're using it as a sexual mechanism for the corporate America, so you can shake your ass in front of your boss and get ahead, and a black man can't shake his dick and get ahead. That's the problem.
Yeah, John said that people offer.
I say that shit all the time.
People offer. People want.
Not with the
People
sexual.
would like to have services and be serviced by our men, and that's just what. But I'm telling you, I'm just not there anymore. We are all Americans, and we have such a hard road ahead. And you know, when you understand that, you know, people are concerned about people coming here making money and taking it back to their country. Well, in their country, they don't make that kind of money, and that's just real. But when people drive people over here in trucks and they all die in the back of the truck, well, what happened there? I'm just trying to understand. I mean, don't we have border patrol? Ain't
Well,
nobody-
here's what happened. It was a money grab. They tried to go for opportunity, and there was a risk in that. And they got the short end of that risk
Well,
spectrum.
the risk in that was the black man that chose to take the load because he wanted to have some money for whatever reason. He took the load without checking the load.
Yeah, that's a
and
fact too.
I'm saying, okay, this only America,
Yeah.
an African American, what side of the fence are you going to come up on? It's time to do the work. And that's just it. And what the work looks like, well,
I'll tell you where I side. I side with the people that need to be at the functions telling the community service administrators what people really need, and that it's for this meantime, maybe forever. But I also side with a government that is able to make decisions instead
the
of
government
constantly
can
being
make
challenged and obstructed by their co-counsel.
well, I'm saying we used to use universities.
They can't. What
We used to
McConnell
use
did to President
universities.
Obama. Obama wasn't even able to appoint more than 11 federal judges because he was obstructed in the Congress.
That's
That is
right.
an example of obstruction.
People were keeping things the way they like them, and you have to understand there's a benefit for that liking. And and then you have to understand and listen to our songs and listen to what Snoop says, and listen to what they all say about how they're just enjoying, the short-lived pleasures because they don't last forever. What really comes down is when it comes down to making the sacrifice and making sure that adequacy happens for the people, for your own children, but not only your own, the neighborhood, because we live in communities that are not developed; they're underdeveloped.
Well, that's wonderful that you say that. I personally do not feel an obligation to try to help my community neighbors. Of
Well,
course,
don't
my
you-
heart
but you
burns
like to live in
to
that
be able
kind
to
of-
resolve that.
I'm just saying, if it's you can't have
No,
it
I don't.
You can't
Who
have
would
it
like to
both
live?
ways because you can't have all this dysfunction going on all around you and you're not doing anything about it, and then say you care about it, but you don't care about it.
Yes, I can, because my house is on fire. My house is on fire. I couldn't possibly put out my neighbor's house fire. I can talk to them while I have a chance, while I'm going to get water from my house. I can talk to them about what they might need to do, but I got to take that water back to my house.
Before the fire actually happened, you could talk about the needs to have the proper amount of hydrants, so in case of an emergency happened, that you would be able to reach your house. There's adequate support.
Exactly. All I'm doing is preaching on a soapbox, but I'm broke. I can't worry about them.
Well, you're not.
I would
broke.
love to help them, but if I get money and put my fire out,
saying you're
then I can
broke.
help them.
Yes, you are
There's other
broke.
ways you can help. You can go to your local council meetings, your neighborhood council meetings.
It's true.
You can go
But
to
I'm saying
different-
you're right about that, Sunshine. And Darlene is right. And I think that's exactly what people need. However, when my family could have all kind of episodes, end up incarcerated, discriminated against,
Choice.
that council meeting is not what I need to be doing. I need
No,
to
you
be
need to
trying to
sit
get my
in-
family mental health services. I
And
need
I
to be
mean,
doing
but
things
I'm
like that
saying-
personally.
Look at our people.
I neglect principle number one. My family.
Just us. We've been the harvest for far too long. It's over. And now everybody's the harvest. But since we've been the harvest the longest, we know how to survive. And we are going to survive. Because we can play the game. I can play the game just as well as anybody else. I know how to find the resources and I'm going to get every penny that's out there on the table. Now, if you sitting up there and you don't understand the value of public
That's
education, your child did not get the high school diploma, what can I say? I was there. I can tell you how to access resources, and failure is not an option. Your child doesn't have to fail because I can teach you how that doesn't happen, because it just talks about let's come together and let's talk about what's working but what's not working, and how can we ensure adequacy happens, and who might we need to call to the table so we can make sure that something's positive. It's real.
Let me give you an example. There was
Exactly.
somebody who created a new intervention law for their family, right? One of their family members died. They took it up to the General Assembly, had a bunch of support, and got a provision enacted statewide for people who fit into that category.
That's
Now,
how life
here's
happens.
what I don't know what collectively it took for her to do that, but I can guarantee you that I can tell these people about my problem and it will not work out for me like that. And
And
it's
I can
okay.
promise
All
you-
I need to do is learn what she did and try to do that. But that ain't my battle. If I can get money and then I can buy the services my family needs. So I have
I'm
a
saying
personal challenge
you
with
went
money.
through-
And when I
You're
get
not gonna
that,
go
I
through
can
what she
do
went
that and save my family.
No, I'm just saying you're not going to go through what she went through.
That's
you
right,
are
and
going-
neither is
but you
another
can-
citizen going to go through what
But
I
you
went
can,
through.
no, you
But
can.
it was very close what she went through.
No. I'm here for a reason.
I can tell you the
I
specifics.
have Social Security. That happened because there was a
Personal
process. And
information.
when somebody got injured on the job, I was given a support. I qualified. I used the process. It took care of me. I'm 66, and at 38, I got on Social Security, and I still get Social Security. And so I paid into the system. But guess what? My father did too. My mother did too. And anybody who's connected to me has paid into the system. And the more of us, the more we paid in, but not so real for everybody. So when you make so much money over a certain amount, you ain't got to pay in at all. So forget everybody else. Everybody else is paying in, but you ain't paying in nothing. Enough is enough. We just have to understand people have figured out how to advocate for themselves.
Well, these are tax tricks.
Well, you know who made the rules?
Those are tax tricks.
Who makes the rules?
White folks,
No, you, because you
rich
never.
white people.
No, because they participate.
John D. Rockefeller made it.
Because he's at the table. Nothing's stopping you.
Yeah, because they were there.
Tennessee has taught us that you bring
Right?
your
Why would I go there when my family's house is on fire? I'm saying that there's better things to do. Now, when I look and say, oh man, I've spent 3 hours watching YouTube videos, I could have gone out here and learned what was going on, sure. But it's about goals and seeing what I'm going to accomplish.
You have to be
Well,
able
you
to
know,
do
And
something.
we
I said
have
it's
it-
right to do that.
As an American citizen, even though we're black, we have it better than a lot of the other countries because we
certainly
have
do.
other countries that are corrupt. Africa, they're corrupt. They don't have nothing. We have way more resources than they do. So sometimes you have to appreciate what you got and go from there. Even though the white people are the lawmakers, you still have to figure out your resources to make, things better for yourself. Advocate
That's
for yourself. Because we actually have it. That's why they're all trying to come to America because we have it good and don't realize how good we have it. So while
Right.
we have these complaints that are that are probably small and frivolous compared to other countries.
I mean, but other countries
Absolutely.
Black and Africa is black ran by their president. So and they're in worse condition than we are.
But we know Nelson Mandela and the struggles in Africa and the people who came over took parts of it. And you have to go to Africa to see the amazing structure of the buildings. And they don't have the same problems we have here.
It is a lot of structure, and it is a country that is it's culture. It's cultured.
It is.
It's got construction, but not all of it. You have certain parts of Africa
That are still living like they
that
were
are
in
still living like they were living. They have no running water. They have to go to get
They have
things from the
huts.
ground.
They
That's why
have
they're
their
coming
food.
here, and their presidents are black. Now, if you live in the city, you're okay if you got a little bit of money. But if you poor like we are, or like I don't know who is poor, but if you poor, middle class, or things like that, you either rich or poor in them countries. I know I have friends there, and Africa's corrupt. So I think you would rather be where you at than there. Please trust
I
and
think so
believe.
too. I mean,
You'd
but
rather be where
we
you at.
only know what we know.
I
and
agree
just-
with you. It's
That's the
important to
reason
take
why
a
they're
look
all coming
how much
here.
of the African infrastructure is built off of Chinese money and
I mean, but
Russian money.
that's over there in their country.
And
but
sure,
we're
there's
only talking
corruption.
about
I
here.
just want to throw that in.
Yeah, the
Yeah,
African
here-
presidents, it's a lot of corruption. But what I'm saying is, we do have our country is governed by white people, but it's a lot more better than going to Africa.
And it
It's a
is
lot more
governed.
better than being there.
Yeah.
So I said that to say this. So you say, we get a bad end because we ran by white people, but Africa's ran by black people, and they get worse than we get.
That's
Go
true. I don't
ahead.
have a problem with the white folks.
Go-
I'm just,
yeah, but
Darlene
I'm just
Ash said
saying.
who made the laws? Well, it was the white man to benefit the white man. I'll play the white man's game. I'll be the white man's lawyer.
Yeah,
if they allow me to be.
Yeah,
if I
even-
can get past the bar. But I mean,
Playing their game is still far better than going to Africa where men can beat on their women or people can do whatever they want to do to people. They fight
That's
each
right.
other. It's still better. It's still a better life.
yeah.
But I mean, but we have to all admit that the laws affect us if we activate on them. And failure is just not an option of public
It's
school.
not an
You can,
option.
You can
it's
make a
not
lot
an
of
option,
change if you
but
activate.
if you allow it, no, if you allow the failure, social promotion is real. So we have 88% of children just don't graduate. They get socially promoted. Black children. What are they going to do after those mandatory 12? There's nothing for them to do because states have not looked at what they're benefiting from the mandatory 12. And the harvest is real. We are the harvest in America. We have accepted so little, and enough is enough. I'm not going back. All 3-year-olds across this nation, we need to question, are they ready to enter into early start? Because the Biden-Harris administration certainly made policy, legislation, laws that all 3-year-olds would be an early start program, an educational program. So that's where we start. Because if we start working with the 3-year-olds, we'll work with those parents. And then we create programs to help empower those parents locally. You know, you can volunteer through the Corporation of National Community Service. It's a volunteer thing. You don't have, I mean, you know, if you can't get no job, volunteer in your local community. Go help in the school. It's real. Because that's not,
Yeah, but
it's not
public,
going to affect the money you get monthly. It's a stipend.
public schools, they don't teach like public schools,
Oh, they do. But you've got to be there to make sure what they're teaching. Because at every age appropriate level, the laws are already written clearly. So at 8th grade, we know what all 8th graders should know by the time they reach
but
that
do
certain
the
age.
teachers actually teach them
But
what they
if,
should be learning? I don't. Not all
okay, if
teachers.
they're not, this is what I'm saying. Because we like scared of special ed. But I'm telling you, it's Burger King. And if you know what your child should have access to, you can ask for the assessments and question why your child's not there. But if you ain't asking no questions, boo, it ain't gonna happen. Failure is
You
real.
know, it is,
No,
and it's a shame that we have to ask questions of what our children are learning. And I say that
no,
because
because it's
it's a.
mandatory.
Let me tell you,
Because it's mandatory.
personal. I'm gonna tell you. I'm gonna give you some personal and hands-on experience that I know for a fact.
Uh-huh. We all have different ones
All
though.
teachers, we do. But if you've worked in the school system or if you've worked with children, you have one-on-one education and you can see things going on. I have worked with teachers who refused to teach children because they didn't like them,
Right. And where were
because
their
they
parents?
did not like them. And the children,
Right.
sometimes you don't have a choice, whether it be your color, your race, or your whatever you come from, your ethnic background. I've had people. Why do you think, not to bring up Trump? He says that he's going to fire bad teachers. The good teachers are going to get promoted for it because they know all people of color are not getting treated fair. All people
But
of
do you realize?
that could be Mexican, Chinese, even white people could be
Of
in a
course,
in a.
but I'm
So
saying the
anyway,
laws
The
I'm
are the
saying that
question
to
laws.
is,
say this. I'm saying that
But
to
I
say
just want to
this.
say the laws are the laws in regards to Title One. Title One, when you take those federal dollars 30, 60, 90 days into the school year, your community, your parents, your teachers are supposed to be working together to talk
They're
about what
not
work.
learning. They're
I mean,
not
but
learning nothing. I tell you, they not learning
they're
nothing.
not having, I mean, but they're not following the process. And guess who would hold them accountable? People like you. People like
Even
me.
when
People like,
they're holding, even when
no,
they're following the process. Let me
I
tell you,
hear.
I took my children from here. We moved to Atlanta. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
yep,
I was at the time I was an
Mm-hmm.
active parent in school, helping with homework and everything. When we
Mm-hmm.
got to Atlanta, they were so far behind
Right,
from where
and
they were
that's
here.
absolutely. And I'm saying you chose to go there, but you didn't assess the public schools before you moved
No, no,
there.
no, 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 no. I didn't chose to go there because in some states where I live at,
It's my choice.
your area depends on, at that time, your area depended on what school you went to. You can't just go to any kind of school in every state.
Because of why? Because of why? Because the people who participate have advocated and lobbied so those resources stay with their children. This is all about showing up. And we
And
have to
then
figure out.
it is all
Mm,
about
I
showing
think that's
up.
only part
And
of it,
some people
Dominique.
don't know that.
no,
And
they
then you
I
don't.
think
have
that's
I
other
mean,
only part of it.
but as an American and as a Black American, I understand. I realize that Emmett Till happened. It hurts my heart that Nipsey Hussle happened because Nipsey was putting it down and he was really engaging with those young people. And he was saying it's time for us to come together and look at our children and file a lawsuit nationwide against states' rights. Because see, the federal government gives you the right to have free and appropriate and special education exists. IDEA certainly exists, and you have a right to have an evaluation with your local district. And then, if that's not satisfactory to you, you can ask for the state to assess your child.
And then you have to choose your physicians wisely, because the physician can carve out the way for you to have a blessed day. And I'm telling you, whenever my son didn't want to go to school, go. Did they try to start me? Hell yeah.
Yeah.
They was right there getting ready to come to my door. Somebody called me and said they're getting ready to do a drive-by on you. I called the state Department of Education.
Yeah.
I stopped them. You understand what I'm saying? My son has a disability. The doctor said he was being stressed out of his brain. He was stressed. He couldn't function. You know what I'm saying? He would panic. He would run. And they said, if he runs one more time, we're going to call the police. I said, don't worry about it. He ain't running because I'm going to be there every day. I was there. My blessing was to be there every day, just to be in the house. And I'm saying the rules protect us. The 13th and the 14th and the 15th Amendment to the Constitution are really real. And if you have never listened to it, listen to it. Let the Adobe reader just read it back to you, but then understand what Esther happened. Every child succeed. That would be under Obama. He said every child that didn't graduate at 8th grade level is going to be entitled to what? 2 years of skill development.
Yeah.
Roof over your head. Adult training, roof over your head, food in your belly.
Rehabilitation.
And the whole thing is that he was telling the states to get ready to do the work. Are they? I mean, Nevada rushed to go and try and build a place for all them children who was in the foster care system. And I'm saying they got an abundance of children in the foster care system. Why? 37% of them are black. Why? Oh, because judicial influence, judicial intervention, judicial judges coming into and saying, I'm sorry, if you can't appropriately take care of your kids, then the state can, and then they award your children because we have kindred care or whatever that is. You know what I'm saying? That kindred thing.
And now it's just as many white people in the system as it is black because of so many
Because
of the
we are the harvest.
Yeah.
Because human capital. Human
they're
capital.
dying from drugs. Where I live at, there isn't hardly any room. It's like what state I live in, you have just as many white people as kids that are in the system because of the drugs that has impacted America.
My son
Because
said,
of
are you
the
still
drugs.
in Sunshine, are you still in Atlanta?
No.
No.
Where you at?
My son said, where you at? I'm in Vegas. And Harrison is, and I was from California originally. Not Los Angeles, but Sacramento. And Sacramento being the capital. And so being Sacramento the capital, and I got to serve as the chair of the District Advisory Committee for Title I and those compensatory. I saw all that money, and I understand how it works. And the community engagement is mandatory.
I live in
Because-
Indiana. I live in a red state.
Yes.
Damn.
I live in
Yeah.
Indiana.
Yeah, I used
Yeah,
to
I'm in the
live
red states.
Indiana, and I used to live in Warsaw. I lived in Muncie. I lived in Toledo. So I know what you're talking about. It's really bad in Indiana.
Yeah, it's bad.
And Columbus is really bad right now.
Yeah, right now, I know, and this is the truth. Right now, off the top of my head, I may know 15 or 20 people who has died from fentanyl.
Yeah, that's
Just from being associated with somebody that I know. When you come to Indiana and you look and they're it's like they're dead. Everybody's dead. It's like you don't hardly see any brothers riding around. You know, you used to see them fixed up with they're dead.
And
They
we used to
died.
understand. We used to understand public school system really provided a pathway for
They're
people to
dead.
have.
Yeah, they're dead or on drugs. Just bad here.
Well, 2020 put everybody on drugs in that
Yeah, they're
area.
dead. In this area, there it's a red state. It's you know, it's
benefits out there for nobody.
There's no resources.
There was no resources.
And then the high is a cheap high. It's a cheap high.
you don't
And
even
so-
have to be you don't I know a couple people who's died from it, even some babies here. But you don't even have to be on it. You could just ingest it or be around it and just
It can go in your skin.
it can go in your skin.
Yeah.
But that's the same thing. Like I said, when I was working and the copying room and all those chemicals from those machines, they just went into my skin and it's caused me to have chronic pain. But you know, I'm going to tell you, the pain pills don't work, but the CBD does. And so I don't know why people are doing the fentanyl because marijuana is better. Oh, MJ, I can't be saying that word. I'll get there.
Well, you know, we can't say why the people was on crack when crack was in this era.
It
We
was
can't
cheap.
say back in the 70s why the people
It
was
was
on
cheap.
heroin when they was in this area.
I
When
mean,
it was in this
it was
era.
a way
Now
to
it's
leave
the reality, just like
But see,
television, just like
even
television.
weed, you have to hear. I don't know where you live at. Even marijuana, you got to be careful who you buy it from. If you're not buying it, all states don't have dispensaries. They got fentanyl in the weed. They got it
Yeah.
in the pills. They got it in everything. Unless you live in a state where they have dispensaries and you can go, you have to be careful on any drug of your choice. Any and every drug of your choice has fentanyl in it. Where I live at,
Well,
because
I
we
mean,
don't
you know,
have dispensaries.
but this is a blessing because we're living in the time of revelations, and so you can reach out and touch me. I can reach out and touch Two Square Media, and Sunshine. We can reach out and touch you, and
Yeah.
we can come together. You can host shows, and we can just talk about reality because it is time for us to talk about what's happening as Americans.
You don't hardly see where I live at, in the state that I live at. You don't hardly see uh any hardly black men, black
Well, I
American
mean,
men.
they're
They're
in
like
the, but they're
they're
in the
gone.
penitentiary.
Like
No. That's just Ohio.
Oh,
That's
he said they're
literally just
nobody
Ohio.
up there. Nobody's up
Because
there.
they go to Gary, Indiana. They go to more of the house, the
Where you could get
house.
where you could get a job
Where you can
physically.
get a job physically where you're working.
Yeah.
I was in a cult personally, a farmer in Ohio, because that was the only work I could find in that summer of the recession.
Yeah,
That's when I left
20.
because it failed.
That's interesting.
Uh-oh. I told you okay, I'm sorry. I told you I would get I got the my life doesn't okay, I understand the decisions. No, it's fair and reasonable. I gotta say that. Because oh no, canceled. They want Sunshine?
yeah,
Somebody complained about you. And so I gotta submit feedback because we were just talking. It was something else.
Oh,
Okay.
Ohio.
Oh, live visibility is restricted, not eligible for recommendations results because Sunshine does not comply with our community guidelines. Sunshine, you gotta be careful. The restricted rules
Man,
remove
they're
once
gonna sit there.
disconnect
It's okay.
reason
That's just
discussing
TikTok.
that other stuff. Okay, so you understand what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Because it was
know what? I
all
don't even
about that lifestyle, the lifestyle when people are dependent. And we know we can talk about the lifestyle, but we have to learn how to talk about the dependency.
Censored.
And because we are not living in a time where we're liberated, we're not living in a time where we have liberty. We're living in a time where we have to think about consciously what we say so that we can sustain ourselves because life is about sustainability. And
Yes.
yet, even though we see it, we have to be clear and articulate how we manage ourselves. I mean, I did have to go through and to the AG because I was being restricted on Facebook and neighborhood, and I didn't understand the neighborhood one, but I do know somebody got offended that one day because I said lions, tigers, and bears. Oh my! But we must comply. You understand what I'm saying? Now, see, you got it right away. Both of y'all got it, but they ain't us, and they not like us. And so,
Yeah.
so if you want to build capacity out here, because the world has shifted. It's just changed. This is a tool, and what is it? Spotify is a tool, but my son said there's something called Clap. All these social media platforms to build capacity and to help empower people to empower themselves. So it's critical that we don't promote the negative lifestyle. You got it? You may
Yeah.
see it, and it's unfortunate.
Can you hear
that
me?
I hear you fine. They didn't take you out of the room. I was trying
Okay.
to lobby. Because I'm 66. You see my hair? It's all white. Look at that.
Oh, that's beautiful.
Yeah, but it's cold out here, so I put my hat on. And then when I do my hair, it looks okay. You know what I'm saying? But the whole thing is that we have life to learn and liberty to claim. And I'm all about claiming my liberty because I was born in America. I'm an American. And the AI gives me blue eyes today.
Are you Democrat?
I am an American, and so most likely that's the party line I vote on, simply because it's for the people. But I still think that more people with differing perceptions need to be a part of both parties because we're just Americans. How do we stand as Americans? What are we doing to ensure adequacy happens for the least of us? What's happening? Because I do see it on the streets, and it's frightening to me
that people just can't move. And I say their bodies are maldeformed and they have sores and they can't move. And I think Seattle, I seen a video on YouTube, and there are podcasters that are coming and talking to people who are stuck. You know what I'm saying? We can talk about the stuckness, right? It's okay because everybody's seen it, but it's how you explain it, right?
Yeah.
Because we don't want to. And then they use AI to scan through all of your social apps and then say, "Oh, well, we saw that, and you did this over there." And I'm saying, "Yeah, but I'm an American, and if I live through it, why can't I explain it?" You get it?
Well,
right?
that's exactly why I don't want to be on social media, because what is the
no,
upside
because
of that?
Somebody's always
I don't
going to
like
have
that.
an opinion. Somebody's always going to have an opinion, just like my grandma said, everybody got one a-holes. But everybody's going to have one. You get it?
That's wild. Yeah, but why would I want to subject you to public scrutiny?
No, this is what it's all about. Because if you never come to the table, then we miss your input. You understand?
Yeah. Yeah.
I understand it.
It's important
It's just
because
risky.
perception is key. And if we can show up every day and not get anything, except for somebody saying how we can't make it or how it's not happening for us, I'm saying, well, why isn't it? And maybe we need to do something different.
Because we have a problem with our governance structure, and everybody should know that I'm pro.
You say we. I'm saying if you're not in the House, how can we be a part of the process? You have to show up.
Yeah. As far as speech, well, the president-to-be said he's going to restore freedom of speech.
I mean, but you have to understand, anybody who can
on
just
all
grab the
platforms.
anybody who can grab the P and still be the president, well, let's get real. It doesn't matter.
Yeah.
And why we are so sexualizing these children when they can't even communicate with each other. And I'm saying that conversation is a local conversation because these babies are certainly popping out. And then they're going into the foster care system, but people are paying themselves $1,000, $50,000, some kind of award, some kind of, benefit for taking a foster child. And then it's so much a year. I mean, so much a month. It's so much money. But you would never get that same amount of money just trying to maintain yourself. Right? No housing, no food, no shelter. You don't qualify, but because they're taking on your personal obligation. Kinship is called kinship care. Go look up the kinship rules. You go to usa.gov. You can look up the kinship rules and then look at your state, what they're doing around kinship. And then let's talk. Because
I told you, Health and Human Services, when that federal money comes to my town or county or state, is one agency that gets it. And they do an okay job.
But they have to have public engagement. Everybody has to do that public thing. And then you have your people who have been gifted those resources and they're helping the state with their implementation, but you didn't show up. So, I mean, where you find a niche and you fill that niche.
But I understand that. But even if I'm there, there's nothing I can do. I could just say, hey, will you all look into this? I don't have access to their decision-making process.
No,
they can talk about it and say, well, Mr. Rice, he came and said he has this particular problem. Let's think about that. But they're not going to put much resources in it because they got to maintain what they already have.
No, you have said that somebody had changed the rule to make something beneficial for someone because something they went through. And I'm saying now they look at that. I'm saying this is what life's about. Establishing, read a book. But come on now. Books have been around for what? And some that's right. And so how do they pass the word down?
Exactly.
But that song, free your mind.
It's all about authoritarianism for me. What you talk about is a powerful championship, but it is a difficult battle that I would not necessarily want to fight.
Freeing your mind.
It's work for control.
Hey, John, put some song on. Put some music on.
The easy way out.
I'm not going to get banned. Put some music on. I'm on TikTok, so it's different.
Well, again, under this Trump administration, the future of the children now, you're gonna sink or you're gonna swim.
No.
You're gonna sink or swim. Because I believe that.
So hold on, because see, I had 3 children. One was non-specific, One was severely MR, and the other one was gifted and gate, and the experience was different for all of them, but they all benefited. And I'm saying, I saw so many kids that just didn't make it. Yeah, we do have to show up for each other, but you can't speak for.
You know, there will be programs for those who truly need to be on a program or
No,
assistance,
but what is
or
that? What are you saying? Truly need to be on the
people
program because
people that
education.
people that might be. I'm not let me
No,
tell
no,
you,
no,
I
no,
work in
no,
the
no. I'm
school.
saying
A
it's
lot of these people,
all.
they come into school systems and they claim they come to school systems. Some people are real. They have to
No, no,
decide
no.
who's real and who's faking. Some of these parents come in here and they say their kids got this and their kids say their kids got that and get a government check. The kids ride out
Okay,
on that till
no,
they
come on, now,
18.
come on now. Let's not get down on the government check because I was working in the mailroom, and then when I had my child, and 3 years later he came out with epilepsy because I was affected, and he was
Yes,
affected.
epilepsy's something different. We got
No,
people
no, no.
who
I understand, but I'm saying all learning, if you understand what I'm saying, is measured, is managed, and is mandatory. And so, for states who have an obligation, it's a legal obligation to provide what is fair and equitable to
I've
all
seen them
people.
diagnose kids with stuff that they don't even have. Because I've
That's
been a
what I mean.
teacher.
Hey,
I'm like,
hey,
ain't
hey,
nothing wrong.
hey, hey! Look! It's
Ain't
all
nothing wrong
about
with that child.
I mean, it's all about that. But I'm just saying that we see when you come around the table and you're sitting around in the IEP table, the individual educational plan, then you're talking about what's working for you and what's not working for you.
Everybody's benefiting but the child. The school's getting money for it. The parents getting money for it.
Oh
Everybody's
no, the
getting, the
children,
state's
no,
getting money for that
the
child.
children benefit if you understand the rules because you're measuring what is called the maintenance of effort. And if your child doesn't reach that goal, then you have a right to just have a whole nother assessment done because they're gonna pay until they stop paying. They're just gonna pay. And I'm saying I had so many assessments. We had PT, OT, physical therapy. We had everything. Social
They have a
skills.
lot of
We had
misdiagnosis too.
no. I mean, but my son. No, it's not about misdiagnosis. I'm not
We're
even
not
talking about the
talking about particularly your child. We're talking about
No, I'm talking
overall.
about diagnosis, period, because we're only measuring what works. And if it's not working, then you have to change the process. And that's if you go to usa.gov and then you type in the Department of Special Education and Rehabilitative Services, or, in California, they have the biggest support tool for people with disability or differing abilities.
I
And then
can understand that.
they
I
have
know
Right
that, and
Flow.
I don't want to say nothing about. I don't want to say anything about people who have disabilities. They have a right, but you have
I'm
those
saying,
people who come up
I
out the
know.
government saying that there's something wrong with their child, and there's nothing wrong with their child.
Regardless of the extra sugar and the cream that's added to the coffee, it's still a diluted coffee. And that's what we need to understand, that we're still damaged to an extent. And the little help that we do get, we're supposed to get because we don't get it in no other form.
Right.
So it's like people will strive for the lower vibrational because they know it works.
It's low hanging fruit.
It's low hanging fruit. Now,
And they don't
if
have
we
to.
had a high hanging fruit for somebody who's mildly affected, for somebody who's a little bit affected, then we would do the little bit because we would know that we're still going to get help. But the extremes are just the extremes of our people.
Well,
And
people are
our
always
culture
trying to figure out.
as a society. We all are Americans. But here's
Yes.
the thing: we are all struggling as America
Yes.
right now. And nobody
America
wants
is
to
struggling.
acknowledge it.
Yeah. America is struggling. It's just not working.
It's just not happening.
Yeah, and the public education
But I've
system.
heard that the schools can try to say a kid is
schools-
deficient because
No, I'm
it's
just
easier
saying,
for them to do that. It costs
when you
more for them to try to
understand
give
what
that
the
one
capital,
Bigger money too.
what the states are, and how capital is derived in a state is based on the people, and if you and it's the different ages of the children and the different conditions of the people, and then the census counts all these people, senior citizens, and you get health care, you get all that, and the states get money for children's health benefits and dental. I mean, it's all calculated in the benefit package. And then they give it to the state and they say, now, make your programs work, but you got to put something in. Not all states put something in. And when they don't put something in, they just dwindle down the lump sum that they got from there for everybody else and make it work for everybody. That's exactly what happened here in Nevada. Every child gets the same amount, except for when this big C happened, they gave special education children a super amount of money. But they knew that if they upped that money, they would have to account for those children. And they never really accounted for those children because that's not why they gave them the money, because they were feeling the need of rural schools. And so every child gets every child gets a free lunch here in Nevada. Every child gets a free
Really?
lunch. Yes. And so there is no there I'm saying when you start understanding that this is about the money. It's not about and behavior. What is behavior in the first place? Public education is to modify human behavior. But it really depends on what the parent has come to the table and say, well, this is what my child is facing. If you see this, then I don't see it, or I see this, and let's have a professional come in. And we'll start from wherever we are, but we're going to move forward. And that's what I did. And so when my youngest graduated with the one-on-one aid, I took him over to Sac City, Sacramento City College, because I really want to know, did he really make it? He's an English 1A. He don't need no more English. But really, we've had all the services, and he could look at a student and say, I know what his problem is, Mom. And I'm saying, he's just like I was when I didn't understand what was going on. And I'm saying, learning is key. And just because your district or your state has chosen some curriculum, if it's not helping the people, it's not helping the people. We need somebody to hold the charge over there and say, hey, that's not working over there. What are we doing? Because showing up is where we are. And this is the days of revelation. And I'm saying, you'll find out when we're talking about public education and mental health services, and we're talking about public services and students' rights, and go to the Department of Justice and look at the complaints that come down against states for violating Title II rights of children with abilities or people with different abilities. You know what I'm saying? It's not a bad thing. But public education is just a modification of human behavior, and it's how we see education, modifying human behavior. It's not about special, because every child is different. And you have a right to what's free and appropriate.
Yeah.
And so it's how you see it, but then I'm saying it's really what you were able to do while you were there. And I'm saying you understood you had to make it happen if it happened at all. And if you didn't put anything in, you see how people just, how sad. Because they still have to
I think
survive.
it's very interesting.
I,
But
I also got a child that had special needs, and he was treated fairly. He had special needs. He couldn't walk. He had cerebral palsy. He was treated fairly, and he went
That
to
was
school.
a 504. That
And I'm
was
talking,
right.
but as far as I've
Access.
seen, yeah.
Because,
So
your
I'm not
child
going to
has a
say that
right to.
everyone. Some people, things just need to be reevaluated. They need to be reevaluated.
And who would and we would only see what you see if you were able to come to the table and share what your concerns were. And I'm saying, because they would pretend like they don't know what you're talking about. And I'm saying, oh no. Oh, I'm just trying to understand. I'm saying,
I've heard it. I've heard this argument from a lot of people, not just myself. I've heard a lot of it. It's a lot of people who it's a lot of people who's getting money for their children who there's nothing. There are disabled children
I
out
hear
here.
you. I
There's
hear
some
you.
who's not.
Well, maybe they will look at the compensation for families who just qualify and understand that compensation should be a benefit for all Americans. You understand what I'm saying? They're talking about doing a basic income. They are talking about that.
Definitely gonna take
And
care
so,
of every citizen.
so I'm saying they're going to have to, because the promise of what is free and appropriate and equal access is under the Constitution. Just because they've chosen not to follow it when it comes to us. And so grant dollars and working in our own communities and targeting things that are happening, but really come to the table and say,
Well,
you can't keep that.
with the
You
Trump
can't keep
administration, you'll be able to pick and choose what school your child goes to.
And that has to do with where you live. But I'm trying to tell you, we had that too. We had that problem in Sacramento. We have open enrollment. And I'm going to tell you, my little experience, my children, I lived over there on the other side of the track. So my kids were going to CM Gady Junior High School, which is a racist, Gady was a racist man. And so anyway, they changed the name to Gady to Rosa Parks. But when my son was there, I mean, the teachers were just bad there. I mean, the teacher would sit up there and read his newspaper and talk about he's going to read his newspaper and drink his coffee. And I'm saying, oh, no, my son's not learning in that classroom. We're going to have to do some more different things, because it was combative. My son realized that they were gaming, and so many kids were family, and he was just combative to them.
That's what
And
we were
so
talking about.
the
That's what I
teacher
mentioned
put him out
earlier.
of the chair.
Some teachers
When
just
the,
don't like you.
I already know. Well, there was a teacher that didn't like him and flipped him out of the chair. And then that's when I had to move to one of those other schools. You understand what I'm saying? Because I had an incident, somebody had brought harm, then I could negotiate, and I got him into the other school. And then he went to Genevieve Didion, which was a K-8. And there was just no way he was ever going to get into K-8. You understand what I'm saying? It brings different foundational services. And so, but when I got him over there, oh, he was doing awesome. And then while he was over there, his younger brother came up right 2 years behind him, and I applied through open enrollment, and guess what? Because that was considered my son's homeschool, we got into that program too. And then when we went to have the IEP, the first part of the year when my son got over there, the principal said, "How in the hell did that happen?" His name was Norm Politar. And guess what? Norm, you don't know the rules. That's what happened. I applied during open enrollment, and because one student was there, it made my homeschool for my other student, and now we just had services. And that was just real.
Well, I can
There's-
understand that. Because, like I was telling you, when I moved to Atlanta, in an all black school in Atlanta, an all public black school,
Mhm.
and when I was living where I was living at the state that I'm living in, my children were at an all white school, but they were so far behind when we got to Atlanta. It was like they were, I think two of my children were set back a grade because they were so far behind from the other children when we moved to Atlanta. But in the state that I live in, they were honor roll students.
Then what now?
Oh no, they made honor roll, and they were got.
Oh, you weren't realizing that your kids were not making progress.
Yes.
That's what you're telling me.
That's what I
You
was
were
telling.
saying that they were promoting them without the kids actually learning.
Yeah, they were making honor roll, and I
Yeah,
thought that
I understand.
their curriculum was totally different. We went by because I
The
helped my children.
curriculum is different, and I'm saying
Curriculum
that.
was totally different than the public schools here, and you have the mathematics and all of that. It's just
All of
different,
that.
and
Know
they were
this.
doing
The
wonderful.
federal
Here.
government has a standard for each child based on their age equivalency, and it's written out in the law. So if you move from state to state, the federal government still has the same standard. All eighth graders at this age will be at this place, and they have it all written out. And it's just a process. States have the ability to use the federal government to get those resources to train in their states to move the kids to where they should be, and then they should be having community people saying if it's not happening, and the promotion, social promotion is not cool. And like I said, after my son graduated over there at Science and Engineering, I took him over there to the college to have him assessed to determine what he had actually learned. He don't need no more English. He's already at English 1A. And we didn't do the math because we couldn't get the accommodations in place before he would have taken the math assessment. And then they moved my mother here to Vegas. But when I came to Vegas, it was insane. What is it? They have something called, there's an NRS code for habitual disciplinary problem. And there's so many things that you could do that would get you to lose your gifted and talented placement for life at the age of 11. Now, what will you do? What are those people doing? Because they certainly have over 30 or 40,000 people have just lost their gifted and talented placement for life. And they got moved to an alternative placement. What is entailed in that alternative placement? It's not freedom. Because when you get 88% of the population of Negro children in a juvenile facility, and then you don't have any mental health services for them, and then you get dinged by the federal government saying that you're violating these children's rights because you're not providing mental health services. I'm saying the rules are the rules. And they are writing this stuff up. All the dings are written about your state. Anything they're not doing that they should be doing is sitting at usa.gov. And just type in your state and look at your state's data. It's all online. I'm not foolish. I don't play where data isn't existent. You understand what I'm saying? And so I'm saying we have to know what the expectation should be and where our children are. And then when they get out, it's just providing them with the support tools to learn what they need to learn to be proficient at a skill. So if your child's going to be a plumber and they're working with their uncle, learning to be plumbing, it's correct. They can go in there and clean that toilet out, and it's not a problem. You understand what I'm saying? They got a skill, and they're gonna make so much money. If you learn to pray, if you got somebody in the family that knows how to pour cement and shit, oh, you're gonna work. You know how to dig a hole. You're going to work. There are jobs still available for people to put manual labor and that can support a family. But if you think that you're going to go get you an office job, we've never been accepted there. We don't even talk about what's not happening in our own communities.
Look, I got to go ahead and chime in on kids being treated disparagingly in school. From an educator's standpoint, it is habitual and it is scapegoating. And it is easy for a teacher to keep having an adverse relationship with a behavioral student when he knows that that student does not have parent advocacy.
Yeah, that's
Because
right.
nobody's going to speak up for that kid. And if
Right.
that kid tries to speak up for herself, that just makes him way worse. And then if you force
They chastise
someone
them even
into
more.
a situation, they are going to continue to act out. I've seen
No,
it.
but I'm going to tell you something. The law says
There
that.
was nobody to speak up for me.
No. Slow your roll. Because the law says that you have to have a manifestation determination hearing prior to
Well,
moving to
Pauline, that's because you were there as a student
No,
who
because
was
I
treated this
understand.
way.
Because
There
I
is no
understand.
advocacy.
No. The federal law, if they take the federal
It
money,
doesn't matter because the law is not the problem. The law is the solution. The
the
problem
law is the
is
solution. That's right. But the
personnel.
people have
Personnel.
to demand it. The people have to show up and demand. Where is the
No, well,
manifestation?
there's kids who don't have anybody to show up. So
Well, they
that
don't.
kid is
That's why they got you.
going to deal with it. No, they don't have me.
Oh, I'm
Until
afraid
I
about
get,
that.
no, they don't have
That's
me.
why they got sunshine. Sunshine's there.
That's why they got sunshine. I'm here to keep this. If I can be an attorney eventually, I'm here to keep the schools in
I
business.
mean,
I'm
you're
here to
just
keep
arguing.
capital and
You're
pockets
arguing a
stuff.
point from your perception, and
Sure.
it's just from your perception because you don't really believe that you have to go all in. And I'm saying,
I should go all in on something, but like I said, I'm not going all in trying to advocate on something that I know that it's a personnel issue. People get the short end of the stick.
you
That's
say
how
it's a
life goes.
personnel issue, but I'm saying that people. You said disproportionality. The law says that states have to deal with disproportionality.
No,
It's just
darling, we can say the state has to do this and the state has to do
the
that.
federal
But I'm not
government.
going
No,
to
the
fight
federal
the
government
state.
says it.
Well, hey,
And this
then
is
the federal
I'm trying to
government
tell
needs
you
to
something.
step in. It's
Harrison,
not my job to
Harrison,
try to get the state into
Harrison,
federal compliance. That's too
24,
big of a battle for
25.
me. It's
Harrison,
too big.
24,
It is a big
25.
battle. It's a big
It
battle
is.
to
It
get state
is.
into
It's the money.
compliance.
But
Yes, compliance.
I'm not interested. That's too big
You
of a
don't have
battle.
to be. You don't have to be interested. I'm just trying to tell you that 24, 25, or 26 is last year that they can spend that money that they put over there, and they got billions of dollars in their carryover, and they couldn't spend that money. Why? Because they wasn't providing services to the people who were generating it. Now we're going to find out. They want the data. The federal government says, go back to 2017, 2018. Tell me what you did and how we would acknowledge that you were entitled to a waiver. They ain't getting no waiver because Obama took the waivers away. No more waiver authority. State never could offer a waiver. The federal government has to approve your plan, and these plans are not approvable because they don't include you. And I'm saying you got to understand we were always included in the shelling out of the benefit. We just never were at the table. Now because of Tennessee, did I say Tennessee? Where people brought the chairs to the table. People are going to bring the chairs to the table. The election happened. We don't have anything else to lose. We've lost everything. It is just time to use these programs, not get banned, engage other people and ask them questions, and to continue to have the talk because failure is just not an option in America.
It's a great fight. Like I said,
It is a
my
great fight.
situation is quite different than somebody who says, well, come out and interact with the community. Certainly I have that opportunity, but there's a very few sets of people in this country or maybe the world who might have been ostracized and scapegoated by a city, county, and state government. And for that to have occurred
You're
for decades,
saying very few, and I'm saying states and cities and towns all have to survive. And for whatever reason,
and
we
they
don't
can survive by
whatever
scapegoating
reason,
one family,
whatever reason,
then
we are not
that adds
discussed.
something
We're just not
complicated
talking
into
about
my
us.
situation.
No, it's not
I
about
was
us.
talking about
You
individually
and I.
me, and
You're talking
how
about you.
that is a very rare situation, and
What?
it's something for me to consider. I've already fought the battle. I've already made
Yeah.
it to where the city knows, hey, you can't scapegoat this family because Harrison's going to come through and file complaints. Harrison's going to talk to your chief. Harrison's going to do this. He's going to file a suit. So let's not scapegoat the family. But if
No,
I
I'm
didn't do all
saying,
that,
but everybody, I'm
then
saying
that
the
would have
mere,
kept
for the mere
happening.
fact that
But
it's
there's no
happening now.
reward. I'm not asking for a pat on the back. All I'm wanting to
Nobody said
acknowledge
that.
is that
I'm just saying
that's
that you're a
voting
part of the
situation has
fabric.
been diminished.
No, I'm saying
Right.
you're a part of the fabric in America and you're making America great again. Let's just put it like that.
Well, that's exactly why I want to be affiliated with the president's office, because I'd rather fight for them, because I fought for me. I can't fight for everyone. I don't have the
Well,
tools or
I mean,
resources.
and fighting for you, you become a part of the fabric of America. So you're fighting for all. You may not see it that way, but I'm saying without your voice, we would. Where would we be?
We are the fabric.
Yeah, we're the fabric of America.
We're sewn in.
Yeah.
And
We
Probably
are.
somebody will want to hear what I have to say, because it is an
I heard you
authoritarian.
though. I
It's
really
an
heard you because
authoritarian
I
regime
love
that
the
I'm
fact
on.
that you want to stay personal and
Ah,
just stay to your own corner. But
you're
hey,
expressing yourself, and
but we
so
are
we
changing the narrative right now.
Mr. Ivy.
Yeah,
Marlene,
Mr.
you're
Ice.
right. This is what I can tell you. I can tell you you're right. It's a great thing to do, but it's not for me. You know, some people wake up, get something out of helping other people. If it weren't for people who
Well,
were
you
here to
don't. I
help
mean,
and do
nobody's
the
asking you to
I
reach
wouldn't
out.
be who
Nobody's
I
asking
was.
you to reach out and save anybody. I'm just saying,
All you gotta do
and
is
saving
be
yourself, you are helping to do what?
You are the example.
Helping to establish a process which others can benefit from. And that's how America works. Read a book, write a book. Read a MF book. And I'm not even singing that song, but you know what I'm saying. It's we the people. And we the people have to show up. And how do we show up? Well, this is the greatest tool because guess what? What am I talking about? Yeah, it's just information. And we need to understand what information we will and we won't pass. And sunshine, I'm gonna tell you, just advocate for yourself and
Stay
tell
brave.
them, yeah, stay brave and say what you weren't realizing, but now you realize it, and we all can live up to the challenge.
we can. Because I'm going to tell you, when we came back here from Atlanta, my children were so far ahead. My daughter didn't even go to school her senior year. She had already did that work in her sophomore year in Atlanta. She says,
Well,
Mom,
I-
I'm doing the same work that she was
So,
just
Sunshine.
acing it. It's
Sunshine.
like, yeah.
So here in Nevada, because there's so many children that are not making it, they use the Corporation for National Community Service, and they're allowing 14-year-olds to get scholarships to go into the high schools to work, or in the elementary schools to work with the children. What are they doing in your state? Because if the children are not making it, they have to provide pathways. But I'm saying you could go through the Corporation for National Community
Definitely
Service.
not that. Definitely not getting scholarships to go into other schools to work. They're definitely not doing any of that.
Yes. No, boo. Because I'm telling you, you go look at the Corporation for National Community Service, and then you go look at look at your state and see who got the money, and understand how they're allocated.
You're going by different policies and laws.
No, there is no. I'm saying there is no different policy, and that's exactly what.
Actual fact.
That's what the big
living
city.
it.
Yes.
Living it. And
Yes.
wait a minute. I remind you that my kids did go to college and graduate. Okay. But as far as learning, it's
I'm saying
everyone
already-
don't go
it's
by the,
2024.
even though we're supposed to go by the rules as teachers. Everyone does not. Every school does not. And that's
Yes,
why
of
they
course.
have the No Child Left Behind acts, because a child can be left behind. But as a
yes,
whole,
and I'm just saying. In
but
America,
as a whole school, my children should not have been so far behind.
and I'm saying because you knew that existed, now you understand why, and perhaps people were not doing the work that they should have done.
I had
And I'm
no
saying-
idea that they were. And then my oldest daughter, she was an honor roll student, but not when we moved and went to Atlanta. She was behind the class. It was very embarrassing. We had to get a lot of tutoring. It was horrible.
That's great. I'm saying because you recognize what should have to happen for your children to make sure that they are thriving, and they are. And I'm saying, but as Americans, you already know we're still broken, right? We have to
We're still
accept.
broken.
We have to accept that we saw Ahmaud Arbery, we saw Amir Locke, we saw Patrick Oyer, we saw all of them around the tail.
We
And then
need
we
people
also
like
saw-
Yeah, hopefully,
you
like
to
we
come
said,
on.
we can make
Also-
America great again.
Well, this
Yeah,
is
yeah.
why I'm saying, is it really? But you know what? What's great is that we can talk about this and build
We have got to
capacity
teach
around the conversation.
plasticity.
And it's just like those two boys, those brothers, those Fuentes brothers. I I don't care. Their father was sexually abusing them at will, and the mama was watching. So when they had guns in the house, they taught their children that guns was a solution. You know what I'm saying? So when the children chose that for a solution of that violence, and then they put them in prison because they were being abused.
Right.
I'm
Case
that's
law
sick.
is not in their favor for those
It was
brothers.
not about case law. Is about
No,
people
it will be about
who
case
don't
law.
have the ability to be just, because that was a sin. And if the children probably had waited, I promise you, God takes care of that. The universe just takes care
Well,
of
we like to
anybody
think
who
so.
knows what they're supposed to be
But
doing.
like I said, I'm glad to hear that. But I don't believe that things work like that. I think people cheat people and people get away with it. If
No.
you can get yourself to where you don't feel guilty about it, then you're not going to really have any retribution because you haven't spent any time thinking about to manifest those negative consequences.
No,
If
those
the first thing
consequences are
people
there
like to
because
justify themselves off.
all I'm really saying is that the rules are the rules. You can choose to comply or die for us.
Right.
And that's just it. And so if you don't understand that compliance is real and we have to tiptoe around the tulips when we're talking about our rights, equal rights. Why? Why are we tiptoeing when we pay the same amount? Do you understand? They have a cabaret tax here, and my people gonna be on the strip. Mr. Bojangles just dancing and making all that money, and everybody's paying these ridiculous amounts of money to come to these concerts, $400 and $500. People come here and retire here. They're millionaires. They have money to spend and lavishly. And I'm saying, but then what? Look at us down here on the bottom. These kids are not even graduating. Won't have an opportunity to even wash the toilet because they ain't gonna wash the toilet in the first place because they think they should have more than just having an opportunity to wash the toilet. But what do you expect when you can't read and comprehend the King's English? I'm just trying to understand, because the application for support and sustainability comes from you understanding that if you're not making it and you don't advocate for yourself, you're not going to make it, and that's just real. So who's in the driver's seat? It's us. We're the people, and
That's right.
we just have to
Yeah.
show up. That's it. And so it's a blessing to be able to show up, but it's
It
a
is.
blessing. And the lesson is we're going to play out here and we're going to play the game well. We ain't going to get strikes. We ain't going to talk about what we see because that's painful. You know what I'm saying? That's a
Yeah.
mental health. And so we don't want to have anybody having any more pain, even if they don't know how to get up from the table and they can't get off the couch and they use that delivery or food delivery. And I'm saying you got to practice on drinking water and getting off the couch and move a little bit because you're not living, and we all have to live, right?
We've got way more technological comfort than we used to. I think it's a good idea to start teaching people to accept things that are coming. For instance,
Empowering people.
I would like to
Empowering people.
empower people to accept that it is okay that robots can take your job. That is okay. Don't be upset. There's no reason to riot.
No. You just have to understand the world is changing. So, welcome to Walmart. And so, and so, come on now. We know the 98-cent store did exist, and well, those imports ain't come, and then we have to understand those imports, and then all those fees that we're gonna be charging other people for taking, and they don't want to buy our stuff. We ain't making nothing here, and we won't even have anybody to pick the beans and the cotton because we ain't trying to let them in over here. And I'm saying, are you serious? I ain't getting out there and picking nothing. Sorry. But I will go to the farmer's market and buy me some fresh vegetables. Because I ain't going to eat all that stuff. When you don't know what you're eating and you fry you a hamburger and all of a sudden you got diarrhea for a week. Serious. Come on now.
Well, we don't have anyone to do all that stuff. Everything that America has been through these past probably 10 years with all the
Problematic
the war,
because
the war
they want to
on
celebrate.
issues, a
They just
lot of
want,
them are
no.
unalived. A lot has been unalived. I think
Yeah.
we're going to be okay.
I think
It
so
may
too.
get bad before it get better, but I think that we're going to be okay.
We're going to actually sow some seed this time to reap a harvest. Because we're actually going to show up. We're going to critique what's happening because we paid for that. And when you call somebody up in your city line of service and they say that's above their pay grade, I say, "Boo, it's not above mine. We just need to talk about it." And then if you don't want to talk about it, then we might have to do what? We just might have to find some other folk who might want to talk about it. But we're just going to have to address the need because the people are so needy, right? And when you know what the need looks
I think once I'm gonna tell you, people will start going back to working once the federal government once a lot of the funds have been taken from in the states, government funds, it's a lot of people that's on government funds that don't need it.
and more people are going to get that basic assistance. More people are going to get that
a
because
lot of people once we get rid of that basic assistance, people are going to have to go to work. They are
you're
going
talking
to
about
have
you're
to.
talking about the welfare. You're
Yeah,
talking about the welfare
welfare,
system.
not getting
TANF.
themselves educated, not feeling like they
No,
need to be educated
that
because they
all
can
might
have
just
babies
go
and get on
away.
welfare.
It might
Things are
all
going to
go
be
away.
different.
What
Things
will we
are
do if it
about
all went away? I mean,
crap is
if
about
food
to hit
stamps
the
go away,
fan.
I mean, but we can't get rid of food stamps because we need to support the farmers with the fresh food stamps. You understand what I'm saying? And we
We
need to
do,
support.
but
And so,
but the
and we're
people
not gonna
that
get.
need
Hold on,
them.
hold on. We're not gonna get rid of WIC. So that we're gonna still get the milk and the cheese and the eggs and those products and the
We're going to get
cereal.
we're going to get the bare minimum of help, but enough to where you need to say, well, hey, this isn't working. I need to get a job or I need to
I would
educate my
hope.
children so they can't
I
live
mean,
like
I mean,
this.
but that's what you did, and you're living in this history. That's what
People
I
have
did. My
gotten
kids.
comfortable with getting federal government funding and help that they don't
No,
want to go to work
because you
to
want to
kick the
look at the
big game
system. I'm going to tell you, welfare system is what it was, Mr. Welfare Man, and we could look in no, what was it? Curtis Mayfield. Listen to his song about the welfare man, and we understand. But we have to understand, as a people, we were brought here, and we were concubines, basically, just producing children, and they didn't let the men come in the house and stay. No, they couldn't stay in the house, so the men had several different wives and several different families, and they just constantly moved. And here we are. And we did never turn that around. So we don't educate the men in public school. They don't get no job. And
But
if
you have to keep pressing your way and moving forward.
well,
You
the
have to keep
system, but the
pressing.
system
The
doesn't
system,
allow,
the
unless we
system.
choose to stand up and talk about the lack of outcomes or the lack of maintenance for this federal regulatory guidance for the states. Now, states have an obligation to produce that data. And when they ain't got it, this is where we are. The state of Nevada doesn't have the data necessary to ensure that they can keep that money in their coffers. And they get ready to find out. They just don't have the data. So what can they do to us if we just don't have the data? Well, you're about to find out. Because
You
made
got to keep
something
pushing and
happen.
pressing your
You
way,
made
advocating
something
for
happen
yourself.
for people who were not making it. Those people are locked up. Those people are being punished. Those people lack opportunities because they can't make it. Because, well, they can't even read and write basic King's English. So if you don't know how to use a debit card, well, ain't nobody gonna tell you how to use a debit card. If you don't know how to get your ID, well, you're just gonna have to get locked up until you figure out somebody's gonna help you get an ID. But if you don't have an ID in Nevada, you can go to jail. And if you get out of prison and they give you a temporary ID and it expires, well, you're going down if you didn't follow it. But if you don't understand what's getting ready to happen, it's a harvest. I saw the people, when you watch in the morning, I saw the people that are coming from the other countries, and all of them was getting on the bus, and they had ankle monitors. Bing, bing, bing. Human capital.
Well, they
And
should have something.
somebody got jobs. Somebody got jobs to monitor whatever they put in process. And I told you, whatever's sitting on the table, there's dollars allocated for these people that have to meet certain steps, the heights. And somebody had already wrote the grant up, and somebody's already getting funded, and they already started the process. Now, when they start closing these public schools, and they're going to close them because they need more money to sustain those millennial scholarships. And because when Betsy DeVos was in office, she just changed everything so you could actually have a scholarship for a K-12 environment out of federal money. And
All these are great solutions. However, there are individual kids who
they're
are subjected to
conversations.
the
They're not
actions
solutions.
of one teacher.
That's conversations.
They are. They are
Conversations.
solutions and remedies. What they're supposed to be is how it should work. But things don't generally work like that. For example, it's not that the municipal code on how police processes is defunct. That isn't the problem. The problem is that one actor, based on a variable of decisions, will break municipal code and commit civil rights violations. So that
I mean, but
happens in
whose
education as
rights?
well. That
Whose
work is
rights?
intended
Whose
all the
rights?
time.
And I'm saying,
Individual citizens' rights.
no, I'm saying that the 13th and the 14th and the 15th Amendment of the Constitution, if you should choose to
That's
listen
why
to
there's
it,
courts and civil rights
talks
law
about
and
equal
lawsuits. You
access.
should
It talks
always
about
sue.
access. It talks about equal access. And the states have to do what? Provide that data. So let's just understand we're in a data accountability, whatever is happening.
Well, we
Data.
can, but there's not enough
Well, that's where
incentive
we are right now.
to
No,
correct
the
people.
money's
They'll
just
say,
not
"Oh, we
flowing.
didn't get it right. Oh, thank you for pointing that out. We'll come out with a new report." Now, hire somebody, come out with some data,
Oh yeah,
and
they're trying to do that right now. But I'm saying Nevada had an auditor, and homeboy gonna get up there and not talk about the disparate impact of the lack of access for the people who look like us. But then we didn't even come to the table and question his ass. So I'm saying, oh no, that's not gonna happen. You
Give me one
realize there's
moment.
an obligation for the regulatory guidance for Title I. How did you meet those standards? Oh, you didn't meet them? Well, we might have to look about how we're gonna take that money or let you have it. Oh, they were told that they had to do something to ensure that they were not sending children away so far from their families that they didn't have a relationship with their families. They are now building a hospital here for people with disabilities in the juvenile in the prison system. You understand what I'm saying? Up to a certain age, but they will have that health care. And I'm just saying, everything the federal government gives your state is a right to do what? Meet the needs of the people. But if you're not meeting the needs of the people, you don't have to worry about it. Henry Ross got $6.7 million. And then he didn't even know how to treat his, in the middle of the night, he gonna ram up like he got some power. And the car had power. And killed the dog and the woman. And he had to go to prison for that. But people would have something to say about his time because he's working in the governor's mansion, serving the governor. You get it? People get to choose your punishment. And when he comes out, let's hope he goes back to football because he was brilliant. Because it's just the money. I think he should have sat on the bench for 3 years, the same years that he's going to sit serving the governor. I think he should have been sitting on the bench, and all the dollars that were going from his misbehavior go to the family and the community of DUI people. That's what I'm saying. Everybody has an obligation. We all just need to stand up. What are you doing? And how are you going to be heard in the year of 2024? Somebody else is up in the room. Hello, hello. Yep. Mm-hmm. David, Mike, and David just came to the room. David, you're welcome. You don't have to have your camera on. You choose to have it on or off. Whatever. This is just a conversation about. I guess he didn't want to be here. It's okay.
Now, I'm gonna tell you something. I'm gonna tell you, and I'm gonna go back to a Kamala Harris spiel. You know, when I was younger, growing up, I come from a huge family, big, major. In the 60s and the 70s, my dad was an activist. So what he did was he picked us up and moved us from a black neighborhood into an all white neighborhood. We were the only white people in this neighborhood because my dad believed we had a right to be there. Okay. So my dad was a working man. He had a small business at the time, which grew, but I grew up in a home with both parents. So we were taught to go to bed at a certain time. Everything was done a certain way. Make your bed up before you go to school.
You had routine. You had
A
discipline.
routine. We had a
That
routine.
was
Okay, you want to say that? So we went to church on Sundays. We done laundry on Saturdays. And my dad was a disciplinarian. So, one time I got in trouble for stealing some cough drops when I was about 7. And I got the longest punishment. And I never did it again. But I'm not saying that I come from perfect parents because I don't. But a lot of people need parenting skills and I'm not trying to ruffle any. I'm not trying to.
I
I'm not
agree.
trying to
I
toot
don't
my
know
own
what.
horn. I'm not going to toot my own
I
horn.
get it.
But
If
out
you
of all
come
the
from the family, you know what it takes to have a family.
out
If
of
you
the
come
12
from,
children that my parents had, 12, none of my brothers and sisters or myself has been to prison. None of us has gotten in any kind of trouble, and they're all self-sufficient. None of my brothers and sisters are
and I'm
on
saying there's just a
government assistance,
whole bunch of
welfare,
people.
none
You
of that.
did it.
But
Yes.
and
But
we
what are
were
we
in
doing for the rest
schools.
of us?
We were
I'm
in
saying
schools.
we've
This
been
was
denied access to speak on the behalf of other children. Believe me, they told me what I couldn't do for other
no,
children,
no.
but
No. I'm getting to a point. I'm getting to a
Mhm,
point. So what
mhm.
I'm saying is, and we went to schools to these all white schools where we felt unfair, but not from everyone. Everyone don't make you feel unfair. So what we were taught to do was to strive, to continue to press forward, and to continue to strive.
That came from
Not
your
to say
family.
that we're going to take away from what our ancestors did in the past, from slavery, from black people not being treated right. We were not taught that. We were taught that we were individuals and to move forward. And apparently, in our household, it worked. And when I raised my children, because of the way that I was raised, I taught my children the same thing. And I can't say that I've had children to be in and out of the prisons, in and out of this stuff.
We do know
Child,
they exist.
the way you teach your child, the teaching your child. I can't say all of this is systematic. It's not all systematic. Some people
No,
condone their children's bad behavior and it goes to one thing. Some people condone their children. One parent might be on welfare, their daughter on welfare, their daughter's daughter. It's a generational thing that goes on. But when you are taught to stand on your own 2 feet, no matter what, my dad and mom, we didn't get. I said, Mom, were you ever on food stamps? She says, Oh, I was back when I first started having a lot of kids. You had to pay for them. You had to pay money for them then. And you had to pay $25 to have a baby. Then she says, but Robert got tired of it and we started doing what we needed to do to survive. But we
was
didn't
it
have
local?
that. We didn't have
Every
that. Oh, I come from slaves and we ain't treated
No, I'm
fair.
just trying to
This
say
job
every
ain't doing
state.
that. We didn't grow up with that,
No,
and we're successful people.
I'm not saying that we have not made it as a people. I'm saying let's just understand everybody hasn't had the same access to life as we have. And we do know that. I mean, I know when I was in high school, there were so many young girls that just dropped out because they had babies and they just got on the welfare and they didn't get married. You know, they just continued to have,
Parenting. We
huh?
need more parenting skills. This cycle, it has to stop.
Well, I agree, and
Parenting.
I'm not coming against you. I'm just saying, but the talks around parenting and the talks around social, the abuse and what looks like abuse and what constitutes abuse, and we have to talk about that too, Sunshine. What they thought was not right words from you, because really they just was telling me all about you, and I'm not going to put you down. You understand what I'm saying? Because I realize that you haven't went through the things that I've went through, but I've been through some shit, and I had a husband,
Hold on, wait a
and
minute. They were telling you all about me
yeah.
before I got online?
No, no. After we talked about the little incident about how people are looking when they're not making it. You understand what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Because when they get ready to tell us about how they would restrict, they say who said the restrictive whatever, and it would have been me if I had said something.
You know what? They don't like a lot of things that Donald Trump has to say, but it doesn't
Well,
mean
they
that
didn't
he's
know
not
yet, but it
speaking
really
right.
doesn't matter because he is entitled, and you already know we've never been entitled. We've had to fight for everything that we have, and then what they want to see us, how they want to see us, like Whoopi Goldberg talking about the last thing I do. No, I was never on the cup of purple. You know what I'm saying? It wasn't the last thing I do. But you know, when you understand that these movies have perceptions, and that's not your life, boo. It has never been your life. I can't
Yeah, but
associate my life.
parenting.
And I'm saying,
Parenting.
yes, and I hear
You
you.
can't
And so
let your child watch everything
what
on
we should be doing,
television.
what we should be doing is lobbying for an intervention once a child is born. Instead of having the kinship people or the state come in, provide an opportunity for these young people to understand how to survive. But we should make it an option for all people because you already know everybody's in the system of the harvest. But I'm saying if we don't talk about this as a community, we can't bring no sunshine to the light, right?
That's right. I
It's
just
right.
believe that we need
It's
parenting
okay.
skills.
And I understand that, but I'm saying we could ensure that one because see, they give them WIC. That's women, infant, children, nutrition, right? And if you have a baby and you have low iron or whatever, you're gonna get some WIC. You're gonna get some extra food assistance. You understand what I'm saying? Then you're gonna come to some nutritional classes just to get the vouchers and just to survive.
That's
But
right.
so I'm saying if we create the process, I promise you people will show up. I was so happy when I had my middle child, because my oldest child, Well, honey, he won them diapers in the Pampers race in the mall. And then I got Pampers for 2 years. And then I got free milk and Pampers. Girl, he was a free baby, right? Most well be. Yep, it's just that America has already established a process. It's important to understand what that process looks like. You need to go to USA.gov. You should understand how they have to respond to you and what rights you actually have as a citizen, because everybody has the same rights under the Constitution, and that's just real. But if you don't advocate, you don't say, I think that this is wrong, or, I mean, we need to talk about how these children are ended up in foster
Maybe
care.
so.
These babies.
I've personally never had any issues with feeling like I've been treated unfairly in
No,
my
I'm
life.
saying that. I'm just
You
saying,
have
I'm not going
and
not
rights.
about
I've
you,
never had to go look
not
for
about
rights.
me.
They're there.
I'm just saying, let's just look at the data and hold this country accountable. That's it. Because you could see when people ain't made it. When people have been denied access, or you just really can't. I mean, I will come in some of these rooms and I see like women who are not doing the right thing and they're cussing at their kids, and I'm saying, oh no. I said, if I said this, I said, I don't know, but you're not going to be able to expect your child to survive in the public school system, allowing them to behave like that. And boy, I was every beat in the word. They called me all out my name and then kept on taunting me, trying to make me leave the room I stayed. Because I wanted to see how ignorant they were going to get. They just got as ignorant as they could. Belligerent, actually. But then I went into another room, and this guy was having a talk, and he was talking about charter schools or homeschooling your child. And I'm all for that, as long as you have a right provider and you can demonstrate the maintenance of effort and your child's meeting those age-appropriate goals delivering, right? But I don't agree, because we know too that people put their kids in cages. They parenting. You understand what I'm saying? We know that things were not happening for children, and because there's no doorway in, we didn't know those things until it was all crazy. And I'm saying enough is enough. As a community, as Americans, we should have a certain standard. We should ensure adequacy happens for all children. How do we do that without talking about it? It doesn't happen, because we really don't know what's not happening. But we do know this. And we see the effects of inability of people to communicate, stay in long-term relationships, just raise their children together. Family, right? And sacrifice. If your dad had all them children, somebody didn't get it. Somebody just said, oh, well, go. Hey, we just got to make it work.
My dad had all them children. My mother was a stay-at-home mom. And then we also had my grandparents too. We lived very well. We were poor, but we had access to family in the 60s and 70s.
Right,
You had
right.
access to family then.
And I understand that, but I'm saying let's understand with the 37% population of Negro children in the foster care system here in Nevada, and all those people are actually participating in the political arena. So they talk about how they came up and how they faced the challenges, and how it was difficult. And they figure you should do the same thing too.
They need parenting skills.
They do too. They really do. But I'm
They
saying,
need parenting skills. Because if you get a child in the system,
you can keep on talking about parenting skills. I'm saying, how do we push that narrative to ensure adequacy happens? And I'm just saying, maybe we look at the data.
if a person gets in if there should be rules and stuff made too. If you get into trouble, you go, you have children, 2-3 kids, say for instance, you get locked up for theft, you stealing. Okay, we already know you're locked up for stealing. You already know you got 3 children at home that you have to survive for. You should be able to. What do you set the example for your children? You should be able to be made to go to parenting classes.
The real deal is that we know that there should be services out there to allow people to work to be sustainable.
It's
and learn how to sustain oneself. It's all
I
learning.
believe that a lot of people create their own narrative. A lot of people create their own downfalls.
So do, because they take the risk, and choice is everything. And we fall down, but we get up. That song, "We Fall Down, but We Get Up." We really do, because we've fallen down so many times. It's 2024, and I'm saying,
you know what? Yeah, we were slaves. Yeah, we probably are old reparations.
But I never knew what it was like.
Get educated.
I never was a slave, because I don't know what that was like.
Our ancestors were slaves. People come over here.
They wanted
Some of
us
us
to
are not
see.
being treated fairly.
They
We
wanted us
got
to see.
a long time to go. So in between that time and now, you got to just keep pressing forward. You got to keep going to school. You got to educate your kids. You just got to
And
keep
you
moving
have to
forward.
participate. You have to participate.
And
You
you
have to
have
start
to.
listening to these public meetings because they are ever so public when they're discussing how they're using the dollars. And if it's not making an effect on your community, then you need to say, excuse me, Governor, but did you not know that's not working over here?
Well,
And
according to
perhaps
Trump, they're not using the dollars right. And according to Trump, he's going to stop it.
they
According to
don't
him,
have to use.
we'll
They're not
see.
using it. They're just not. They're
So,
not using the
according to
dollars.
him, so
No.
their education's not being
According to the federal regulations, they don't have the data.
according
They
to the federal
demonstrated
regulations.
it's access. It's access. And it's what the 13th and the 14th and the 15th Amendment. I know you probably never listened to the whole thing. Get online, go to the, it's just not a bad thing because I didn't listen to it till about 4 years ago and I'm 66. But when I did listen to it, I understood then what I have a right to, how I'm going to show up. And they don't need to even expect me to not to back down because you're there. You're getting pieces of my money. I'm paying for you to do what? Ensure adequacy happens for all people. And if they need some parenting skills, then let's make sure that we have the programs out here because, boo, the programs that you have ain't working for nobody. You understand what I'm saying? And they don't have to work because people, they're just there.
It's
They're
sad.
just,
Sad.
it's sad because we have made it so there is no accountability and it just doesn't exist. Because if it was, it would just be me and you. And I'm saying we need to understand that this whole system of overseeing our behavior while we out here in the ethos is real, right? And as a free person, when someone's going to use a tool to assess everything you ever done and then keep dinging you because they're not going to let you do better. But you need to understand what the do better is because it's playing the game. I play it well. I know you do too, because you understand. It's just a different way of looking at the perspective, right?
It is.
It
And
is.
you know what? You're right on a lot of your topics. You're
Well,
like,
I'm so happy to be blessed because my mom, she moved here. We moved here like 5 years ago, and my mom died at 85. But she was a beautiful spirit, and she worked, and she left something for all of us, all of her children. And she only had one to be in the system, but he's out now. And I'm saying we have to understand why are so many of our people in the harvest, and
you
so
know,
they're going to be there until we show up.
we come in a time where we're around the same age. We come in a time where life was different.
Yes.
People had different kind of morals and different kind of
Yes.
respect.
Yes,
And,
you came in a time where it says
And the perfect time.
ASS and then grass and then nobody rides for free, and that's just real.
and you know,
And we know it. And so, but I'm saying we came in a time where it was great going to concerts in the park and wearing shorts and being still feel the same. I still feel the same. And feeling safe. But there's no
now,
no. I mean, when you
we grew
can't go
up with
to the
Marvin.
movie,
We grew up with Marvin Gaye and Anita, Aretha
yeah,
Franklin, and
that's right.
you
And
know,
Curtis Mayfield,
Curtis Mayfield, and
yeah, and all the good music.
the Love, and
But I'm going to tell you,
United. Now these people,
you can't play the music on the regular shows, without getting dinged. And you can play the music here, but they still like you to say it's not copyrighted. You don't own the copyrights to that.
they do, and I hate to go there, just like I'm
We just wanna. I mean, I
I'm a
got
religious
albums
person.
and CDs. I got them in my house, and I like to listen to them. I'm so happy that we got Spotify right now. I could just choose to listen to music I want to listen to. I ain't got to turn on the radio and listen to nobody that I don't love, and I get to choose
that
the blessing choice. It's
even
real.
with, I'm a religious person. I hate to go back to, I was very, very upset with the Harris's, with the Harris, the Biden administration,
But I'm
and
saying, no. If you look
all
at it
the
like
people
this,
that they put up there as examples for Black people for
no, I'm gonna say
her.
I'm an American.
That
And
was
there should have been no fair weather Americans this time because we already know what we've lost. And as it is 2024, we are limited on, and everybody is judging us. And I'm saying, Wow, I didn't. I thought my mama passed away. I didn't know. I didn't know you decided you was gonna be my new parent. That's what I'm saying. And I'm saying, if you don't like it, then just look away. Look away, my friend. You don't have to be there. That's the freedom. That's how come we have books and people write books about everything, and it's not criminal. You know what I'm saying? But some people have painted themselves into a corner by putting things in a book that they should have never, like that Tupac killer. They claim that that uncle or whatever had something to do with Tupac, and I'm saying God took care of that. Thought you knew, but Tupac was a messenger, and so is R. Kelly, and they don't like us to have the message. You have to learn how to be a good messenger, and so even if it is skills, and because you come from a big family, you could write a book too. I could write a book, and then we could share our ideas. But guess what? When we write a book, thousands of people can get that book for $100, and we can have thousands of dollars. Read a book, read an MF book. That's all. What can we say? We have to share the message and empower. And thank you so much, Sunshine. I think I'm gonna follow you. I think I do follow you. I think I got there to follow you.
I don't know if I put one up. I'll put one up. So
Yeah,
I'll
and
put,
then
I'll put,
and then
I'll put
and
one up.
then and then you need to create, another platform so that you could have people follow you in more than one place. And then this is just about you can have the same show and share it differently. We're just trying to build this safety net because we believe it exists,
I'm a
right?
religious person, and
I'm a spiritual person, and I know because I've been to many churches and I'm spiritual.
and
I
right
know that
now I'm a spiritual person, and my religion. I'm trying to figure out whether or not if I want to make a platform for myself. I may not want to right now.
Well, I mean, it's all work in progress, and I'm saying you got to sow seeds so we can have a harvest to reap. I've been, I started off just by going to the board meetings, and then I just loved to go to the board meetings. Like it was excitement because I wanted to hear what they had to say next, so I could ask a question about it. And then then I just started learning the process and making sure that my children had a pathway, but helping other people get the pathway too. And it's just conversation because so many people are just, you don't want anybody to know how they feel. You don't want nobody to think about them. And I'm saying it just doesn't matter. You can't stop people
I
from
educate myself on some topics then, but I just don't want to just jump right out there and not be
Don't
educated on
worry about it. I'm just saying,
certain topics. But I have a
the
lot of.
song is, don't worry, be happy. Because you do have to be happy.
Hey, my
Because what
grandmother used to play that song all the time.
if
She loved it.
And there's just good messages because I love that if you had a choice of colors, but I also love Lean on Me, and I also love once there was a boy and
There
girl
you go.
who said I love you.
Love you so.
Hey, the girl said I'll never leave you, but they grew up and they left each other.
And
That's
that's
the
the
way
way
love
love
goes,
goes.
isn't it? And it is, because we can't make anything happen. You just choose discipline. But if you're in a relationship, you have to be loving
Those was a
and
good
you have to be kind, because nobody wants to be in that kind of abusive stuff. Nobody. And if you have been given the gift of children, understand it is your obligation to give to those children to help them be sustainable. And that's exactly what your father did. And my grandfather, Pete Thomas in Mississippi, he told my mother to keep the family together, and that's what she did the best of her ability. But in some members of our family did not sow the seeds that my mother had, and they could really see that it was different for their family, different for their children, and they're not so together. You understand what I'm saying? And it's still tough to stick together as family because some of us, you already know, it doesn't really matter because the way is carved, and it is just whatever you're doing, whatever you've been gifted to do, whatever your gift is just for you to continue to sow seeds so we can reap the harvest. But make sure we're sowing the good seeds, because we don't need to see what we're seeing, and it's painful. But there are people that you can share your concern with, and so because these people are elected and they sit in a pretty place, it's important for them to understand exactly what we feel. And so if you see there is a need for additional services around public engagement and parenting, well, write to your state people and write to the federal government.
Needs to be better
Express
parenting.
your concern, huh?
I definitely believe that.
Yes, because if nobody knew your concerns, then we couldn't tackle the problem. And so many people just, we understand that we have concerns. We really have concerns now because the bridges are falling down and the roads are pucking in. And come on now, and the ocean is flying away, and it's just real. But who are we going to be in the year of 2024? It's time for us to do what? Activate. That wokeism is real.
It is.
And so thank you so much. Please find my podcast over there on Spotify, Parent Empowerment Half an Hour. Or Citizen Anderson. Citizen Anderson is better over there on hey, where you going? Okay.
Thank you.
My son is going to get something to eat for herself. I cooked yesterday. I made fried rice and he don't want that. Thank you so much, Sunshine, for coming up. And our restriction is ended, and I had 2 restrictions on the show, and we have to be careful about what we say. We can't talk about. We know those things do exist. It's how we choose to do what. Restriction for some audiences. Okay. We just have work to do, and in America, there is so much work to do because we have to do it. And it's just been left undone. And I think we got to a point and everybody was grooving and moving. Then we just stopped. And we stopped having the concerts and we stopped having those. Because there used to be time where your city would have a concert. But here in Vegas, they have concerts all the time. And people just come to the shows all the time. And I'm saying it's just real. And that's real. And so you just have to know in America what it is and who you'll be, and work towards that. Work towards investing in yourself. There is the Corporation for National Community Service. You can volunteer, even if you don't have any job experience. And like the AARP is through the National Corporation for Community Service. They have people who, the AARP writes grants to the federal government to hire senior staff. And I'm just saying, what we're doing is really just participating in the process, no matter where it's been, no matter where we are in 2024, because they got plans written all the way up to 2025 and 2026 and 2028. But if they don't even have any data that demonstrates that they did any of that work, it's time to readjust and re-talk about everything, because it is time for us to go and grow. So go and grow, my friends. I'll say go and grow. Y'all have a blessed day. I'm about to get out of here. And you can catch some of my old shows over there on Spotify. You want to hear my thoughts, Parent Empowerment Half an Hour on Spotify. Or you can find me over there on Podbean. Citizen Anderson, so wake up. Y'all, have a blessed day. I'm out of here. Thank you for coming. Thank everybody for joining the room. Sorry about the restrictions, but, we all have to understand what we're supposed to do out here. And we will understand as we spend more time out here and things become more settled. We're just going to be more polite.